Okay, I can see on the gender side of it, I can see that 63% of my traffic, and again, this is year to date that I'm looking at, is coming to my website. So 2/3 of my traffic is female, 1/3 male. And they're between the ages of 25 and 34. So I'm painting a picture about, gender and age coming to my website. Well, I can also look at geo. So where specifically might these people be coming from? So if I go to location under geo, I'm going to be able to see a breakdown of country, or I can even hone it down to city or specific location. And here I can see United States is the primary driver, but not by much. So we have 16, almost 17% from the US, and then 16% from Argentina, 13% from Mexico, 10% from India. So we have a nice mix of traffic from different locations in the world coming to our website. So that's geo. But more importantly, let's take a look at mobile. So if we go to mobile overview, how are people coming to our website? Are they on a desktop or a laptop? Are they using their mobile device? Are they using a tablet? And so Google Analytics breaks it down very nice for you. And so we could see percentages and actual numbers by device category. And so in this case, I can see year to date, I can see 62% are coming from desktop, 35% are coming from mobile. And so that's important because most people start their journey from mobile, and that is growing, and that's going to continue to grow. So you want to keep an eye on mobile. So to me, this is one of the more important reports under audience, because people who come from mobile have a different, not only experience, because the website should be responsive to the mobile device, but their mindset is going to be different. They're actively looking for something. They're probably going to either then follow up on their desktop or follow up in person at your store. Or they're probably looking for directions, or they may just call you. So the experience is a lot different on mobile. So we want to hone in on the growth of mobile. Okay, so to me, this is one of the more important reports in Google Analytics, especially under audience. So let's move on to acquisition. So acquisition reporting tells us how the traffic was driven to the website. So if audience tells us who is coming to the website, acquisition tells us how that traffic got to the website. And so really what you want to do is get a sense of what channels, what marketing channels are driving traffic. So remember, we talked about organic search. Well, those search engines are indexing your pages. Well, how much of that traffic from the search engines is actually coming to your site? And I'm a believer in, if organic search is the primary driver of traffic, then you have a pretty healthy website, because that means the search engines are indexing your pages. People are searching for something related to your business. You're being found, you're getting clicked, and that represents a majority of the traffic. So that's always a good thing. So here we can see it broken down by channel. If I go to all traffic channels report, I can see in my dimension that organic search represents 72% of my traffic, and this is year to date. Then I can see paid search, then I can see direct, which means somebody went directly to the site. I could see referral, email, social, then I could see more paid search broken out. So these are the different marketing channels. Now, analytics allows you to look at a specific source and medium. So the source would be the actual website or search engine, and the medium would differentiate how that traffic actually got to the site. So if we're talking about a search engine, did they come to the site via paid search, or did they come to the site via organic search? And so all we need to do is change our primary dimension from default channel grouping to source and medium, and we can see specifically the breakout of the different sources and mediums driving traffic to the site. So here I can see Google Organic at 71%, and then Google CPC or cost per click at 16% of our traffic. So then I can look down, I can see email in here, Bing Organic, I could see some referring sites, I could see some social in terms of mobile Facebook. Okay, so we could see a mix of the different sources and mediums driving traffic to the site. Okay, so you don't always have to look at channel per se. You can look at it via source and medium. And if you're running Google Ads, under acquisition, analytics has a whole section of Google Ads reporting. So if you're running campaigns on Google Ads, remember we looked at the keyword planner in Google Ads. So if you're running campaigns on Google Ads, you can certainly see the performance of those campaigns just by clicking on campaigns. We can also see campaigns, other campaigns that we're running. So remember that UTM tracking that we set up for email? Well, we want to be able to track the performance of email and any other non-Google campaign with UTM tracking. So when we do that, we'll be able to go to campaigns, all campaigns, and we'll be able to see the campaign performance. If we look at source and medium, we'll be able to see what campaigns drove traffic to the website. So here I can see vertical response email as a driver of traffic. So that's the campaign reporting. And then also if you have Search Console. So we looked at Search Console earlier when we talked about SEO tools. Well, remember I said you can link up Search Console with Google Analytics. Well, here's Search Console, and we could see queries, devices, landing pages, countries. So all the performance metrics that we could see in Search Console, because we have it linked up with analytics, we could see it right here. So this gives us a nice snapshot of what keywords are driving traffic to the site organically. I could see the impressions, I could see the clicks, then I could see the click-through rate, and then the average position. So in theory, the higher something ranks, the more traffic you're going to get. So that's the idea behind it. We want to make sure that we're ranking for our coveted keywords. And if we are, we want to be able to measure how many times our listing was seen and how many times it was clicked. So that's the great thing about, Google. They have a family of products, and those products tend to talk to one another. In the form of Google Search Console and Google Ads, you can connect them directly to Google Analytics. So let's move from acquisition to behavior. So here in behavior, we have a number of different reports. So behavior tells us once the traffic actually arrived at the website, how are they behaving? And so really what I would do is from there go to site content, all pages. And so this gives us an idea of how many pages were actually viewed. So site content, all pages tells us what page and how many times it was viewed during a period of time. And again, we're looking at year to date. So I can see engagement related metrics associated with a page. So this particular page here on line 1, I could see how many page views, unique page views, which is equal to sessions. So I can have a session come to the website and look at a page multiple times in that session. I could see the average time the person has spent on a page, and I can also see the bounce rate. So a bounce rate indicates that they arrived on the page and didn't go any further. They left the website from that page that they arrived on. And so I can also see percentage of exits, meaning what page did people exit the site from. So these are all engagement related metrics. So here is where I want to react and optimize my website performance. So if I see a page not performing well, meaning it has a high bounce rate or maybe low time on page, then I'm probably going to optimize it, meaning test it or change it to improve performance. So these are all pages, but I could certainly look at landing pages. Okay, so landing pages tells us the behavior of the page when somebody landed on it. So a landing page means that somebody came from organic search or paid search or another channel, landed on this page. So here I could see this particular page on line 1 had 4,970 sessions, okay? And I can also see the performance of that page. So measuring engagements against pages is definitely important because page isn't performing in terms of bounce rate or time on page, then we want to be able to make changes to that page to improve performance. Okay, there are some other great reports under behavior. So we want to go to site speed. We want to look at how fast or how slow our pages load. So this is important from an SEO perspective, because if a page isn't loading very fast, then chances of it getting ranked in Google are not very good. So Google's organic search basically takes page load time seriously. So if a page doesn't load very fast, then we need to be able to fix it. So we can go to page timings. I can get a good sense of the average page load time of a particular page. And what Google does here is under speed suggestions, they actually will give me some ideas and speed suggestions on how to address a page that's loading very slow. And so when we load up the speed suggestions report, what Google does is say, hey, we know that this page is loading very slow. The average page load time is 15 seconds. Here's some suggestions. We're going to give you 7 suggestions. So if you click on that, what's actually going to happen is you're going to go to another tool called PageSpeed Insights. And PageSpeed Insights is analyzing the page, as you can see here. And when it's done analyzing the page, it's going to give you some feedback on how to improve page load performance, not only for desktop, but for mobile. So here I can see, if I scroll down, this is desktop, and these are some of the opportunities that I can address when trying to improve the page load time of that particular page. So here I could see there's some server response time issues. Image sizes probably need to be resized. I can remove unused CSS. Okay, so there are a lot of different things I can do to improve the page load time on this particular page. Okay, this is for desktop. I can also see mobile. So mobile, a lot of the same issues. So if we address these opportunities, then we could see a lift in page load time. We see a lift in page load time. We're going to probably see a lift in organic rankings or even user engagement. Because if a page takes a long time to load, a user's probably not going to stay on that page very long. So to me, site speed is an important report under behavior. Now, one more report here that I want to point out under behavior is events. And to me, events are important. So if you're trying to measure engagement on your website, you need to make sure you have event tracking set up. And when we talk about event tracking, we're talking about measuring things that analytics doesn't measure by default. So if you have a button on your website, if you have a PDF download, if you have a submit button on a form submission, if you have a subscribe button, if you have a video, if you have an external link, anything that is going to trigger engagement on your website, you need to measure with event tracking. And event tracking is simply set up by breaking out the event into a category, an action, and a label. And so here we could see for our particular website, we have categories already set up for event tracking. So here, for example, I can see on line 6, video. I can see how many people actually watched our video. Okay, so here's the action, video start. Okay, so over this period of time, I could see I had 49 unique events, 50 total. So that's how many people actually watched the video. And you can always revert to label, and that'll tell you what page people watched, in this case, the video. So event tracking is important because we want to be able to measure engagement. So if you go to events under behavior and you don't see any events listed, you probably need to get that set up, and that is set up through Google Tag Manager. So what you want to do is you want to be able to set up your events through Google Tag Manager, which is another Google platform, but you certainly want to do that. So that's where you set up your events. When you set up your events for your website with a category, an action, and label, you'll be able to measure those events in analytics under behavior, under events. And the important thing here is you'll be able to measure engagement. So I'll be able to see how many people came to the site and how many people clicked on a button, downloaded a PDF, submitted a form, played a video, did whatever we wanted them to do. So events are important. So let's move from behavior to conversions. And this is important because we want to be able to measure conversions on a website. So analytics has 4 types of conversions. So if I go to admin, down at the bottom, and then I go to goals, I could see that I have 4 different types of goals that I can use. Now, right now, I have event-related goals set up for the website, for this particular website. So we just talked about event tracking. So if you're measuring a button click on your website, you can certainly turn that into a goal. And so all you need to do is tell analytics, hey, this is the particular category, this is the particular action. So for example, if I click on this particular goal and take a look at it, I can see that we have a category set up that anything that resembles donate now, okay, or donate, go ahead and fire this event as a conversion. Okay, so event is one type of goal. Another type of goal is destination. So if somebody goes to a specific page, like a confirmation page, we can turn that into a goal. So here I could see if somebody goes to donation-confirmation, then analytics is going to fire that goal as a conversion. And we're going to see a conversion against a different metric or different dimension, like channel or audience. Okay, so destination is the second type of goal. The third type of goal is duration. So how long did somebody stay on my website? So in this example, if they stayed at least 1 minute and 30 seconds or more, then analytics is going to count that as a goal conversion. Okay, so duration is the third type, and then the fourth type is pages per session. Okay, so if I look at this example here, if a user came to my website and looked at more than 3 pages in that particular session, then analytics is going to fire a goal conversion. So 4 types of goals. You don't have to set up all 4 different types. My recommendation is at least have 1 goal set up. If you're not sure what goal to set up, then at least set up a duration or pages per session. Okay, so at least you can measure how long somebody stays on your website or how many pages they went to. Okay, so when you actually do have these goals set up, you can go back into conversions, we can go back into goals, we can go back into overview, and we can measure our goal completions over this period of time. So here I could see 313 goal completions total with a goal conversion rate of 1.88%. And then I could see it broken down by goal type. So remember, the only goals I have available and set up are event-related goals. So 69 newsletter signups, 156 donate click buttons, I have 32 contact form submissions, 37 email click completions, and then 11 phone number click completions. So I can measure engagement as a goal. And so goals generally are important to the business. So you want to make sure that if you have a goal for your website, then you want to be able to set that up as a goal in Google Analytics. So that way, when you're looking at example channels, if I go back to my channels report, I can then measure channel by goal conversion. So these are all goals, but if I want to look at, for example, how many people from organic search clicked on the donate now button, I could see that. I could see year to date 10,887 users, which meant 11,000 sessions. 76 clicked on that donate now button. And that comes out to 0.65% conversion rate. Okay, so that's important. So you want to be able to measure any dimension, whether that be channel, source medium, keyword, campaign, mobile device, could be demographic, gender or age. You want to be able to measure any dimension against the goals you have set up so you can measure performance. And that also includes pages or landing pages as well. So that's a quick overview of what you can expect to see in Google Analytics. Again, audience, acquisition, behavior, and conversions. So a lot of data in Google Analytics, but you want to be able to take advantage of the data in order to improve website performance. Now let's jump over to YouTube Analytics, because if you have videos on YouTube, if you have a channel set up, some playlist, you'll be able to get some really good insights as to how your video is performing. And so here I could see I'm in YouTube. All I did was I went to my account, Then I went to the studio version of YouTube. And then from there, I went to analytics. So my account, YouTube Studio, analytics, and analytics here is going to give me all sorts of information about my videos. Okay, so here I could see over the last 28 days, my videos produced over 8,600 views. My watch time in minutes totaled over 17,000. And I've netted 48 subscribers. And this is an overall, okay, so I can actually see when I publish videos, and I can see the date they were published. And here I'm looking at, total views over this particular date range. I can also see specifics on a particular video. So I could see the top video in terms of minutes. Here I could see this particular video had 602 minutes over the last 28 days. So here I could see views on a particular video. So this is just an overview. I could certainly look at some other information. If I click on reach viewers, I could see the total impressions. So how many times my video was viewed or how many people looked at it. Okay, and then the click-through rate. So here I could see the different traffic sources. So 29% came externally. Okay, here I could see 25% came within YouTube itself. I could see how many times a video was viewed and played via playlist, via suggested videos. So I could see different ways in which the traffic found my video and actually watched it. Here I could see externally how people were able to find my videos. And I could see 46% found it via Google search. I see lots of information here about sources of traffic, how the traffic got to these videos. So I could see then once the traffic found my videos, how many times they actually saw it and viewed it and then watched it. So that's how many times I was able to reach viewers via different sources and then their reaction to that, how many times they saw it and watched it. Here I can click on interest viewers. So again, I could see the top videos in terms of watch time. I could see the top playlist. So here I could see my partner's playlist was the top playlist. So I can see some interest here in terms of average view duration. And then here we have build an audience. So we can look at specific audiences if we have them built in YouTube to see how many people actually watch my videos. So here I can see 88% of the people who watched my videos over the last 28 days were not even subscribed. So that tells me a lot of people are finding my videos, spending some time watching them, but they're not subscribed. So we're trying to get them to subscribe to our channel so they can watch more. So a lot of information here in YouTube itself about how our videos performed. Again, this is good insight because ideally what you want to do is you really want to take a look at a specific video, see how it's performing. So if I just click on one particular video, I can actually see the audience retention over the course of the video itself. I could see the ways in which people found the video, okay, again, externally or via YouTube search. I could see how many people liked it or disliked it. I could see all sorts of information on a particular video itself or an overview of my channel. So that's all available to you in YouTube Analytics under YouTube Studio. So take advantage of that. So if you're publishing videos on a regular basis, you want to hone in on how your videos are performing. So if you have any additional questions about YouTube Analytics or YouTube in general, take a look at our video that we created earlier this year about how to create a YouTube channel. We go into some in-depth insights into YouTube itself, especially YouTube Analytics. So take a look at that video. And if you have any other insights about YouTube Analytics or analytics in general, go ahead and put a comment below this video. So let's turn our attention to competitor spying tools. Very important to keep tabs on what the competition's doing, and there are a lot of tools out there. So when it comes to social, we can use a freemium tool like Sprout Social to listen in on our competitors. We can use another freemium tool, Social Blade. There's a popular tool out there called SpyFu. That's freemium as well. Moz, we looked at Moz earlier for keyword and organic. Moz is a great tool for also leveraging our competitors in terms of backlinks. And BuzzSumo, so that's another freemium tool. Again, there are lots of tools out there. These are just examples of some of the tools that we use here at Simply Learn, I use personally and professionally to get a sense of what our competition's doing. So why would we want to use a competitor spying tool? Well, it may sound like a very straightforward question, but there are lots of reasons why. And so let's look at some of these reasons. And the first reason is we really want to identify, our competitors' backlinks and monitor changes in their ranking. So the reason why we have this as the top bullet point is because SEO, organic search, is a long-term strategy. On-page, off-page, website, very technical and creative. There's a lot going on with SEO, a lot going on. And sometimes it takes a long time to rank for something. And a lot of SEO does depend on relevancy, relevancy being how many quality backlinks are linked to you. So it's always good to leverage what your competitors are doing so you can see how you stack up. And so that's why this is up there as number one. We want to be able to really take a look at what our competitors are doing. Another example would be, hey, how much traffic a competitor is gaining on certain keywords. This could go either way. For paid search, organic search, what are competitors bidding on? Are they really getting traffic from those keywords? So there are tools out there that help us leverage what our competition's doing. Okay, we can also identify our competitors' top performing content for relevant topics. Okay, we can determine what our competitors' website referral traffic is. Okay, we can pull our competitors' data and compare it with our own campaigns. So lots of tools out there to help you do this. And we may want to track the total amount of clicks a competitor receives and how much they pay for each keyword. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few examples how we can leverage all these bullet points that we just discussed. And so we're going to start out with Sprout Social. And Sprout Social is a tool I use. It's a social media platform. There's a lot of things you can do with Sprout Social. Definitely generate reports for your social media platforms. You could set up a post that get published at a certain time and day. But there's also one particular tool in here called listening. And so what we could do is we just put in, for example, RV rentals in Twitter. So what we're doing is we're actually listening to see who else is tweeting about RV rentals. So we could do this for Twitter, we could do it Facebook, some other social media platforms. The whole idea here on Sprout Social is to get a sense of what our competitors are doing. So we could have easily put in a brand name. We're just going general here because we want to rank for the keyword RV rentals. And so here we could take a look at, what some of these particular brands are doing, like Go RV Rentals, Cruise America RV. We could see, just scroll down, and we can get a sense of, in particular, what people are tweeting about, what other companies are tweeting when it comes to this particular keyword, RV rentals. Now, if I want to hone in on a particular competitor, I could just really refine my search for that competitor's brand name, so RV Share. So here I can take a look at, what they're doing when they're posting or tweeting, how long ago, the time of day, get an idea of what they're actually saying, what campaigns they're promoting. Okay, I can get a sense of everything about this tweet. And so here I can scroll down and I can see what's been shared by other people for this particular brand. And I can see a lot of people are, as an example, retweeting this particular giveaway. And so to me, it just gives me a sense in this particular example on Twitter as to what our competitor's doing. Okay, let's turn our attention to SEO. So remember that first bullet point, we want to get a sense of what our competitors are doing when it comes to backlinks. And so Moz has a great tool called Link Explorer. And Link Explorer there allows us to actually compare link profiles. So for my domain, I can go ahead and put my competitors' domains in there and definitely get a sense of how many links my competitors have, external, internal. I can get a sense of the domain authority. I can get a sense of page authority, linking domains. So I can really do a comparison across my domain and my competitors' domains to get a snapshot of how I compare against my competitors. So this gives me an overview of everything I need to know organically. Now, Moz also has another great tool under Link Explorer called Link Intersect. And I like Link Intersect. I use it a lot because if our competitors really have a number of external links and domains pointing to their site, and they have a better domain authority and page authority, then I want to be able to, see what they're doing, where they're linking, who's linking to them. I want to be able to get a snapshot of why is their domain so much better than ours in terms of authority. And so the Link Intersect actually allows me to do that. So I can go ahead and put my competitors' domains in there, and then I can find opportunities. And so you just click on opportunities and you can see where my site intersects with their site. And if it doesn't actually intersect, then I have an opportunity to actually try and get a link on that particular site. So that's what the Link Intersect report does. It allows me to see where my links intersect with my competitors. And if it doesn't intersect, then I have an opportunity to generate a backlink. So that's ideally what the Link Intersect tool is. In Moz, it allows me to really get a sense of where I'm linking and where my competitors are linking. Now, what we can also do is also take advantage of another report under Moz's Link Explorer and the Discovered and Lost report. So we could put in our domain, or we could put even our competitor's domain in there. And we can get a sense of what domains were found and linked to them. So really within Moz, we can get a good snapshot of what websites are linking to our competitors. We get a good snapshot of the overall links to our competitor sites, and specifically what sites. So the whole idea is if it's good for our competitors, meaning they're linking from a site that has a good domain authority and low spam score, then it's probably a site I want to be able to tackle as well. Okay, so you have Discovered and Lost. Okay, you have comparing link profiles, and you have Link Intersect. So those are three good reports you can leverage right in Moz's Link Explorer tool. Now there's one more report we can leverage in Moz, and that's the inbound links report. And so we can go ahead and type in our competitor's domain here. And again, we can get a snapshot of what their domain authority is, page authority for the home page. But really, this is what we're after, linking domains. So this particular domain has over 9,000 linking domains. So what we can do is actually go through and see, based on domain authority, I could sort by domain authority where these pages are being linked from. And so here I can see Reddit. So a lot of Reddit here, which is a good site for backlinking, New York Times. So, there's a lot of different sites here, Washington Post. So I can get a good snapshot of my competitor by seeing every link that's pointing to them. Now, of course, I don't want to go through 9,000 links. I can really just hone in on a specific link source or link type or link state. So I can really filter it if I wanted to. I can export the report and do some further analysis. But really the whole idea here is I could see what URL is linking to this particular competitor site, what the anchor text is, what the page and domain authority is. So this gives me a really, really good insight on all the backlinking that my competitor has. And again, if I'm trying to catch my competitor, it's probably not a bad idea to look at what they're doing and even copy what they're doing in terms of backlinking. So if we're not on Reddit, then we probably need to be on Reddit, because if that's where our competitor is and they're getting good link juice from Reddit, which has a domain authority of 90, then hey, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, so they say. So inbound links is just another good report you can leverage in Moz under the Link Explorer reporting tool. Now, if I want to get a good snapshot as to what my competitor's doing on search exactly, well, look no further than SpyFu. So SpyFu is another tool that you can leverage from a PPC SEO perspective. From an SEO perspective, perspective, you got some backlinking data as well, just like you did in Moz. From a PPC perspective, you can get some good keyword insights. And so here, I just went ahead and typed in the domain. And what this is going to do is just give me an overall snapshot for my competitor's domain. So here, I could see, how many organic keywords they're found for, the estimated monthly SEO clicks they're getting based on the volume of those keywords. Okay, I could see here the keywords their top competitors also rank for, the rank history, 12 years. So this particular domain's been around a long time. Okay, so that's on the organic side. I can flip over to the paid side. And I could see that they are doing paid search. I could see 5,000 plus keywords they're bidding on. Okay, based on that, what they're actually paying. And then I could see, some of the other competitors listed here from a paid perspective and an organic perspective. I could see the shared keyword overlap. Okay, now again, you can pay for this because it's freemium and get some really good insights as to how your domain compares to your competitors. So I'm using the free version, and here the free version, SpyFu's just giving me some overall data on the specific domain I entered in. And so I entered in my competitors. You can certainly enter in your own domain to get a sense of organic keywords and paid keywords. So you can see top keywords, top paid keywords. Okay, this is Google Ads. Okay, so this is what recommendations as to what to purchase. Okay, here you can see some Google Ads history. I could see exactly what ad copy my competitor actually wrote and for what keyword. And then I can see some organic ranking history here as I keep scrolling down this overview report. So I can see for RV Rent where they rank, and then I can see inbound links just like I did in Moz. SpyFu is providing me with some insight as to, hey, what links are pointing to them and what the domain strength is and how many clicks they expect to receive. So this is all free data. Take it or leave it, but it's all free data available to you under SpyFu. So SpyFu gives you kind of an overview for free, some really in-depth analysis if you actually pay for it, and it just really hones in on what your competitors are bidding for paid-wise and what they're ranking for organic-wise. And so SpyFu is a really good tool to leverage if you just want to get a snapshot of how your competitor overlaps with you. So let's turn our attention to Google Analytics, because in Google Analytics, under Audience, I can go to benchmarking, and basically the benchmarking reports allows me to see what the industry as a whole is doing compared to my own website. Now, the caveat here on this particular report is that it's all anonymous data, so I can't exactly see what competitor is doing what in this report, but if I hone in on my industry, in this case autos and vehicles, and I hone in on a specific country or adjust the size of the daily sessions that I get, then I can see, hey, analytics in this case, in this example, is sharing 8,863 web properties. Okay, so they're sharing the data for over 8,000 web properties, and I can compare those web properties against my own. So if we're all in the same industry, it gives me a sense here as to how I stack up against the industry as a whole, in this case, as it pertains to channels. So you can see here, red not good, green is good. So in the industry, we're not doing as good as others in the same industry who are receiving the same amount of sessions. Now, we could certainly adjust, and we can adjust our locale. And if we do that, Google's going to be able to adjust how many web properties are actually contributing to the report. And so when analytics makes that adjustment, we're going to be able to see, in this case, just New Zealand. So we're going to adjust for New Zealand, and we're going to go with a 4,999. And so we could see there are about 300 something web properties contributing, 47 web properties now contributing to this report. So if we're focused on the New Zealand region, and this is the amount of traffic we get, we're now comparing us against 47 other anonymous web properties. So now if I go back to the report after I've honed in, I'm looking at channels, and I can see how many sessions we're getting by channels and how I compare against the competition. I can also measure up against percentage of new sessions, new users, pages per session, average session duration, bounce rate. But that's just channels. I can also do location and devices. So the whole idea behind this report is, yes, you're not honing in on a particular competitor, but you're honing in on your industry. So you're getting a good idea as to how you compare against your industry just by making some adjustments in the benchmarking report. You obviously want to make sure you're looking at the same industry, adjust for your country or region, adjust for the site size, meaning how many sessions you actually get on a daily basis. And then analytics will do the rest. They'll compare you against those in your industry. And so I find this to be a good tool because it allows me to stack up our site against those in the industry. And obviously, if we're not driving as many sessions, especially say from organic, then we have our work cut out for us. Okay, so that's the whole idea behind the benchmarking report. Now, if you want to get some good insight as to what the competitors are doing and you don't want to use a tool, well, look no further. You can always go to google.com. Okay, so this is how we used to do it back in the day before all these tools became available. You just typed in a keyword, and we're going to type in RV rentals, and now we're going to be able to see who's bidding on that keyword. So we could see we have a number of different companies bidding on the keyword we're interested in. Okay, here I can see some featured snippets. Okay, and then I could see some organic search results. Okay, if I scroll down, I'll be able to see some other companies bidding on that same keyword, meaning they're paying for RV rentals. So if I clicked on somebody's link here, they're actually going to pay Google for the click. And so this just gives me a good sense of, how many people are actually trying to rank for this keyword or trying to be found for this keyword. So that's all I did. I just did a search. Now, from an organic perspective, if you really want to hone in on your competition, you can always do the syntax all in title, colon, and then hit enter. So now I could see I have 163,000 results. And what does that tell me? That tells me that I have 163,000 websites with RV rentals in the title tag. So if you're trying to optimize for the keyword RV rentals as an example, then you know that you have 163,000 different listings ahead of you that you need to jump over in order to rank for the keyword RV rentals. So using the all in title syntax and the keyword right after that actually just gives you a more accurate picture of how many sites are actually ahead of you for a particular keyword. So that's the whole idea. So if I get rid of the syntax, and you can see for RV rentals I have 132 million, but that's not really accurate because not all these listings have the keyword RV rentals in the title tag. And title tag, if you're working on organic search, is one of the key important factors for ranking. So you need to have that keyword in the title tag. So that's the whole idea behind using the all in title syntax. It gives us a good idea as to what our competition's doing and how many sites we have to jump over to get to number one on Google. Now, if you're running Google ads, just as we did with RV rentals, we went out there and we typed that in as a query and we saw how many advertisers there were for RV rentals. Now, if we are running our own campaigns, Google Ads actually has a good report that I really like. It's called Auction Insights. And so you can get to Auction Insights just by clicking on Campaigns, and then from Campaigns, click on Auction Insights. And what Auction Insights allows us to see is what competitors or domains are bidding on the same keywords we are. And so what Google does here is it allows us to actually see where we stack up against our competition for all the keywords we're bidding on. And so here I'm looking at year to date, and here we could see us and I can see our competitors. Okay, so I could see impression share. So if we're talking about one keyword, every keyword has 100% impression share. How much of that impression share are you getting? And when we say impression share, meaning eyeballs. When we talk about eyeballs, are we getting a majority of the eyeballs or our competitors getting a majority of the eyeballs? So we can see our average position. I can see how often I overlap with my competitors. Okay, I could see how often I'm above a particular competitor. I could see what percentage I'm at the top of the page versus my competitors, the absolute top of page rate, and then I can see how often I outrank my competitors, and vice versa, how often my competitors outrank me. So I can see all this good insight as to what competitors are bidding on the same keywords I am. Okay, so this is if you're running Google Ads. Okay, so if you're running Google Ads, okay, you can just click on the Auction Insights report. You can find that at the top navigation just by clicking on campaigns. And by doing so, you'll be able to gain some insights as to where you stack up from a paid search perspective against your competitors. So let's turn our attention to paid marketing tools. So if you're doing some advertising on Google, Bing, LinkedIn, you probably want to work within those platforms as the tool of choice. So, if you're doing paid search on, say, googlesearch.com or display, you could be doing display advertising on, a network like AdRoll or Google, or you could be doing social media paid ads, say on Facebook. So whatever it is you're doing, you probably want to work within that platform itself to get the ideal data that you need. Okay, so here are some of the tools, some of the places you can go. Of course, if you work in Google Ads, you also have Google Ads Editor that you can leverage. Okay, and I'll show you that in a couple minutes. You have Google Ads Keyword Planner. Of course, both of these are paid if you're running campaigns. Okay, so Bing, if you're running campaigns on Bing, okay, you get all this good data that you can digest through some reporting. Okay, you also have some third-party tools out there that you also have to pay for in WordStream. Okay, so WordStream's a third-party tool that you can leverage. Bing and Google are actual advertising networks, so you would advertise on the platform itself and get all the data you need right in the platform and leverage a lot of the tools that they have available in the platform. As I mentioned, you could also use Google Ads Editor. So Bing also has their own editor as well. And as well as Facebook. So you can use an editor type version, and I'll show you that here in a couple minutes. But let's talk about why we want to use the tools in the platform itself. Well, we want to be able to monitor how our ad's performing. So which ad receives the most traffic, as an example. We want to identify keywords that are performing for us. Okay, so are keywords converting, not converting? Are they costing us a lot of money and not netting a high enough return for us? So we want to keep an eye on that. Okay, so we want to monitor our cost, okay, across different locations and devices. Not only cost, but we want to also monitor how our ads are performing across different locations and devices, keywords across different locations and devices. So we want to be able to measure by device. Okay, so we also want to analyze competitors' data. And as we showed you in the competitors section, Google, as an example, has Auction Insights reporting. Analytics has benchmarking. So Google itself does provide some information in the case of Auction Insights as to how your competitors are performing against you on Google search. So that's on the paid search side. Then you have display. Okay, so display advertisements. Okay, you're across a different network. So there are different types of networks out there. For example, AdRoll. Okay, you have Criteo. Celtra is another paid version of or paid tool you can use, in Wide Orbit. So these are some of the paid marketing tools you can leverage. Of course, I like to stay, if I'm advertising on Google, I like to stay in Google Ads and measure my display performance that way. But if you're on AdRoll, for example, then you want to leverage AdRoll's reporting platform and some of the tools they have to offer. So if we look at display, why do we want to leverage some of these tools? Well, just like search, for example, where we want to look at keyword and ad performance, same kind of concept here. We want to be able to monitor whether we have the right keywords and right customer engagement. So when it comes to display, we want to be able to make sure we're choosing the right audience. Of course, that means looking at not only audience insights, but our target insights as well. Are we reaching the right audience when it comes to display? And Google has a good breakdown that I'm going to be able to show you here in a couple of minutes. Okay, so we want to improve our campaigns by monitoring our competitors' display ads as well. So there are tools available that'll help you do that. And that's on the display side. And if we look at social, okay, what tools can we use on social? Well, you got Facebook Ads Manager, okay, you got Ad Espresso, Quaya, Tweepy, you got all these cool paid search tools. Again, I usually stick with where I'm advertising. So if I'm advertising on LinkedIn or Twitter, I'm going to leverage that platform. But just know that there are other tools available for you. So with social, like display, it's all about targeting our audience. So for some of the tools like on Facebook, we can review and relaunch our ad campaigns based on target audience. We can measure conversions and gain insights in this example about Facebook users. How are our users interacting with our ads? And then we want to target people based on their activities, such as purchase intent, device usage, travel preferences, etc. So social allows us to do that. And then with Facebook as an example, we can monitor any A/B test we run. For example, if we're running call to action test, we can measure the results of that right in Facebook. And I'm going to show you an example of that here shortly. So let's jump right into Google Ads and look at some tools available to us from the search side of the house. So if we're running search campaigns, right in Google Ads, we could see campaign data, we could see keyword data, we could see ad data. So for example, if I want to see what ads are performing, I'm just going to click on my ads and extensions. Okay, and here are my ads. And now I could see what ads are performing in terms of clicks, click-through rates, etc. And so that way I can go ahead and pause ads, activate ads. So that's right here in the Google Ads platform itself. Now, if I want to look at specific keywords, I can do that. So I can see what keywords are driving traffic and clicks. Here I could just sort by clicks. And now I could see not only what keywords are driving clicks, I could see what the click-through rate is. I could see the impressions, how many people actually viewed my ad after typing in a keyword query that I'm bidding on. I could see how much I've paid by keyword. And more importantly, I want to be able to see conversions or conversion rate. And then with Google Ads, you have quality score. So we want to be able to measure quality score. So this is Google Ads keyword reporting. And so the great thing about the keyword reporting is that there's some other features available to me here. So here I can add negative keywords, okay, just by clicking on negative keywords. I can also see a search terms report. And so when it comes to search terms, I can actually see what specific keywords people typed in. And based on the keyword that somebody typed in as a query, I can see what match type triggered that particular ad. And so if I see a keyword query that I don't particularly care to be shown for, or I want my ad shown for, then I can go ahead and just select it and I can add it as a negative keyword. Okay, so that tool is available to you right in Google Ads. Okay, and then you have the auction insights. So we've reviewed the auction insights when we're looking at competitive analysis. And so here, if we look at the auction insights, we'll be able to adjust our date range and we'll be able to see basically, who else is bidding on the keywords and what their impression share is, what their average position is, what their overlap rate is, position above rate, top of page, absolute top of page right now, ranking share. So once Google has data, then they'll be able to share that information with you. Okay, so that's just keywords, but there's a cool tool that I really like, and I leverage it for SEO and pay-per-click, and that's Google's Keyword Planner. So if you click on Tools, and then you click on Keyword Planner, we'll be able to leverage the Keyword Planner. And the whole idea behind the Keyword Planner is, do we want to discover new keywords? Or for the keywords we have selected, we can get volume and forecast on that. So here, let's type in a keyword, mail delivery, and if I click get started, okay, so Google's going to give me some other keyword ideas, and they're going to give me what the average monthly searches are for that keyword. They're going to let me know the competition. They're going to give me a range in terms of how much I can expect to pay for that keyword. So if I happen to click on that keyword, I can add it to a plan, and then once I've added to a plan, then I can go ahead and look at that plan and measure what kind of volume I'm going to get and how much I can expect to pay. So now once I've added my keyword to that plan, I can go ahead and see how many clicks and impressions and costs and click-through rate and average cost per click I can expect to spend. So, and this is based on a maximum CPC of $2. So I can go ahead and adjust my plan accordingly if I want to in order to see basically how much I can expect to spend. So that's the whole idea behind the keyword planner in terms of choosing new keywords. And once you choose keywords you're interested in bidding on, you can actually do a forecast to see exactly how much you can expect to spend, how many clicks, how many impressions you can expect to get, and if you have conversions set up, how many conversions you can expect to receive. So that's all part of Google's keyword plan. That's viewing, forecast, as well as choosing keywords. So there are so many different tools and features within Google Ads. We need a whole segment just on this. So really, I'm just going to highlight some of the more important tools and features. So I mentioned the keyword planner. I mentioned the campaigns, keywords, and ads reports. Another thing I would look at in Google Ads, again, we mentioned this as one of our key defining why would we use it bullet point, and that's because of devices. So we mentioned devices. Why would we use Google Ads reporting tool? Because we want to look at devices. And we want to be able to see what devices are driving traffic from what campaign. And then the cool thing about Google Ads is right in Google Ads platform, you can go ahead and do a bid adjustment. So if I increase my bid adjustment, for example, on mobile phones, then my particular ad in this particular campaign is going to show more than on computer. So I can always decrease it. For example, do a bid adjustment on computer, and that means I'm going to show my ads less. So I can go ahead and do bid adjustments based on device. That's the cool thing of working right in Google Ads platform is you can make adjustments right here in the platform based on devices. Well, you also have locations too. So we mentioned that as one of the reasons why we want to use some of these tools. And if I see a particular location I'm not interested in advertising, well, I can always select it and I can always just pause it or remove it. So, or I can change the bid adjustment on a location as well. So I can make a lot of different changes right in the Google Ads platform. For those seasoned in search advertising, paid search advertising, especially on Google Ads, you can always use Google Ads Editor. All you need to do is just do a search for Google Ads Editor. You can download it. So basically what Google Ads Editor is, it's a tool, it's a software that you work with your campaigns on locally. So you're making changes to your campaigns on your computer. And basically when you're done making changes, you can always upload them to Google Ads, to the account on Google Ads in the cloud, so to speak. So that's the whole idea behind Google Ads Editor. It's a great tool for you to use if you want to make household changes really quick. For example, I'm looking at an account with a bunch of campaigns. So now if I click on one of those campaigns, I could see the ad groups here. Okay, so for example, if I just wanted to turn off all these ad groups, I can just highlight them all and just click status enabled to paused, and I can revert back if I want to. Okay, so you can make household changes. So here I could see the campaign, the ad group level. If I choose an ad group, then I can see some keywords. And again, I can make changes ad nauseum. Here I can copy, I can paste, I can delete. Okay, so I can make a lot of changes really quick right in Google Ads Editor. And that's the whole point of Editor, is to go ahead and work locally while somebody else is working locally on the same account. You could both be working simultaneously and being more efficient on getting things done in the campaign. Now, if you are working with somebody else on the campaign, you want to make sure that you get recent changes. So if I say get recent changes to all campaigns, what Google Editor is going to do is contact Google Ads in the cloud and download all those changes. So here I can see the changes being downloaded in Editor from Google Ads. And when it's done, it's going to highlight all the changes that have been made. And so once I'm done reviewing those changes, I can go ahead and click done. And now I know I have the recent latest changes in editor. So now I can go ahead and continue to make some changes. And when I'm done making changes, I can go ahead and post them. So that's the beauty of Google Ads Editor. Bing has a version, Facebook has a version. It allows you to, again, go at the keyword level, the ad group level. Okay, you can look at ads itself and make changes to the ads. Okay, you could do a lot of different things right in Editor. In fact, you could do pretty much most of what you could do in Google Ads, you can do in Google Ads Editor. And so that's Google Ads Editor. To me, I would recommend it if you're experienced with Google Ads. Again, it's software. You have to download it. You're going to use it on your computer as software. But when you make changes, all you need to do is post those changes or get recent changes that have been made on Google Ads. And so that's Google Editor, Ads Editor in summary. Now let's go back into Google Ads and talk about display advertising, because display is a different network, but the platform's still the same. And some of the same tools are available from the search network as well as for the display network right in Google Ads. So if I want to take a look at a campaign and ad group on the display network, I can just click on that ad group and I can look at the ads that are running for that particular ad group on the display network. So here, the difference being on the display network is you can use image ads. On the search network, you can only use text ads. So here I can look at image ads and I can see how they're performing. In fact, you could even go a step further and use responsive display ads. So Google has responsive display ads, meaning it's going to respond to what's performing best. Okay, and so now I can see clicks, impressions, click-through rate, etc. right on my ads and extensions report in Google Ads platform. Now, this happens to be a retargeting campaign. So if we click on audiences, we'll be able to see what audiences we're targeting here. Okay, so when this report loads, when you run retargeting campaigns, you're targeting a specific audience. And so we want to be able to see, okay, of the audiences we have set up, what audience is performing best. Okay, so here I can see a breakout by audience. Again, I can see the same metrics I could see on the search side. I could see clicks, impressions, click-through rate. More importantly, I want to be able to measure conversions. Okay, so that's the whole idea when you're in these platforms and you're paying for ads, is you want to be able to measure against conversions, and you can also measure against cost per conversion, conversion rate. Okay, so those are some key metrics to measure up against, whether it's audience, keyword, ad, whatever the dimension is. So here on the display network, we can get a sense of demographics. Okay, so unlike the search network, the display network allows us to see demographic data. And so now I could see an age breakout or an age range breakout that Google provides us, and I could see again, based on that age range breakout, which age range has the most clicks, impressions, etc., including conversions. So you also have the opportunity on the display network to add keywords, you have the opportunity to add topics, and you have the opportunity to see placements or run placements. So here, if I click on where ads have shown, I can actually see where my ads have shown up for this display campaign. And Google Ads allows you the ability to go ahead and you can exclude it from the ad group or exclude a specific placement from a campaign. So you could take action on a specific placement. And I could see the type of placement, whether it's a mobile app, whether it's a site. I can go ahead and see exactly where that placement was. So that's the placements report. You have demographics, you have audiences, you have keywords, you have all these different reports available to you on the Google Ads platform. So before we jump over to social media, paid search advertising, I just want to remind you, we do have, a nice tutorial on Google Ads. Okay, so take a look at the Google Ads tutorial we have set up on YouTube. Okay, if you search for Google Ads tutorial 2019, this is a good tutorial on everything related to Google Ads. So check out this video, because in today's webinar, we're just mentioning tools across the board. And if you are advertising on Google ads as most people do, then you could see just how powerful it is and all the different features that are available. So take a look at the video. It's a nice complementary video to this one, this digital marketing tools, and this will give you a nice and deeper insight into everything that's available on Google Ads. And if you have any tools or features on Google Ads, whether it's the search network or whether that's the display network, then feel free to comment below this video. Happy to hear your comments about what tools and reports and features you specifically use in Google Ads. So let's move into Facebook Ads Manager and show you how the platform looks when you're running ads on Facebook, so we can look at all the different tools and reports available here. So here we could see, if we're in the Facebook Ads Manager, we could see our campaigns, we could see our ad sets, and we can see our ads. So just like on Google Ads, you have left side navigation so we can drill down. So if we want to see ad sets, for example, we could just click on ad sets that are showing up in this particular account. And here we can see we have 2 ad sets that are live. So if I click on one of these ad sets, I'll be able to see an actual ad that's running here. And so for the actual ad that's running, I can then see the results of that ad and how it's performing. For example, how many clicks it's received, what the reach is, what the impressions are. So impressions similar to Google Ads, how many people are actually looking at the ad. And then I can see the cost per click here at $1 as an example. And so now I can go in and I can go ahead and look at the ad performance and go ahead and change out that ad if it's not performing to my expectation. So if I click on more tools and then creatives, I can just simply click on creatives and then I can actually see the creatives I actually have running for that campaign I selected. So now I can see all the creatives that are running and I can see the results of those creatives. So Facebook Ads Manager also has different reporting. So if I click on the reports pull down menu, you can see here, I can see some standard reports by ad set, age and gender, and then I can see all reports here listed out by placement and device, time of day, country, etc. So if we just look at age and gender, we'll be able to get a breakout age and gender here. So you can see by campaign, I'm looking at all campaigns here, and I'm looking at just age and gender. I can certainly deselect one of these, and I can look at a specific time range. So now I could see who's looking at my ad specifically. So here I could see 35 to 44 female. I could see the reach, impressions, and how often they're actually seeing my ad. Now this is key for Facebook because if somebody's seeing your ad a lot, they're probably going to tune out to it. So that's what makes the frequency metric so important on Facebook, because then we can go ahead and turn off that particular age and gender if we needed to. And we could see how much we spent. So this just gives you some idea of the type of reporting that's available in Facebook Ads Manager. Now, the great thing about Facebook reporting in Ads Manager is, I can group or ungroup my dimensions if I needed to. I could change the view and arrange columns. I can get rid of columns, just as you would in Google Ads reporting. Very similar stature here. So I have a lot of flexibility here on how I review the reports. You got different metrics that you can pick and choose as well. Okay, and you got lots of different flexibility when you're looking at the reports on how your campaigns are performing. Now here I can pick and choose. I can choose campaign, ad set, ads, objective. Again, I can choose different demographics. So I have a lot of options available to me in terms of how I want to, view the performance of my campaign, view the performance of my ad set or my ad. Now remember, if you're in Facebook, you can always go in and edit the campaign. You can edit the ad set. Remember, in the ad set, that's where a lot of your decisions are going to be made, including how you want to drive the traffic, okay, what your budget is, Okay, you can basically choose your audience here. So you're going to be able to choose what type of campaign it's going to be. And based on that campaign, you're going to go ahead and choose the kind of audience you want to focus in on. You're going to be able to choose the location, the age range, the gender. So all of this is going to be set up in the ad set or the campaign or the ad. If you go ahead and edit an ad, remember you can do A/B testing as well. So you have a lot of different options and features available to you right in Ads Manager when you're managing your paid search campaigns on Facebook. So if you want some more information about all the different features and tools in Facebook Ads Manager, check out the Facebook Ads Tutorial 2019 webinar that we did earlier this year. In addition, you can also look at another one that we did on Facebook called Facebook Advertising Tips and Strategies. So that should give you some sense of everything related to Facebook ads and how to take advantage of the Facebook Ads Manager platform. So if there's anything on social that we may have missed or that you use, feel free to add a comment below the video. We'd love to hear your feedback. Okay, let's talk about some affiliate marketing tools. Let's turn our attention to affiliate marketing. A lot of affiliate marketing platforms out there. The number one probably is Commission Junction, also known as CJ. They're an affiliate platform. They have a freemium model, meaning you can have a free trial, but basically you're going to have to move on and pay for the platform. Likewise for House Offers, you have volume. You really, when it comes to affiliate marketing, a lot of platforms out there. Click Inc., AWIN. So a lot of these are brokers per se. And when I say brokers, like for example with CJ, you as a merchant or you as a publisher can get in touch with a merchant. You as a merchant can get in touch with a publisher. Meaning CJ helps bridge the gap between you finding somebody to build your network with. Okay, so that's what really affiliate marketing is, and you really need a platform to kind of put it all together. And so a lot of affiliate marketing platforms. We're actually going to take a look at CJ and go through some of the features in the platform here shortly. But let's just take a look at why we need these affiliate marketing tools. Well, these affiliate marketing tools identify affiliates, influencers, employees, other advocates you want to partner with. So again, you could be on the merchant side. You could be actually selling a product, and you're going to want somebody to help you sell that product. Somebody with a website who's an influencer who drives a lot of traffic to their own site, who, does sell, reputable brand, etc. So you need somebody to help you introduce you to these sites. Okay, so CJ and some of these other marketing platforms, affiliate marketing platforms do that. Okay, so these tools are there to do the introductions, the brokering, the relationship. So the other benefit here is you can contract with affiliates and track the traffic and conversions. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, if you do use CJ.com, by no means am I only endorsing that platform. There are plenty others out there. But whatever platform you use, you're going to want to be able to set up terms and conditions with that particular affiliate. So you could set up a terms and conditions for, say, 10% off all sales, as an example. Okay, well, you're going to need a platform that will help you broker that contract. Okay, contract terms or program terms. Furthermore, you're going to need a platform to help you track, hey, is this affiliate helping me drive traffic, or is this affiliate driving traffic to my products, and is this affiliate helping me sell? So these platforms help you do just that. Okay, so you can gain high website rankings with the help of your affiliate, meaning that, hey, your affiliate can be promoting your product, and if they're promoting your product, you have a chance to show up via paid search, organic search, off other websites, so social. So you have a lot of benefits to working with affiliate marketing in itself, and the tools available will help you gain website rankings as one example. We want to be able to track certain metrics. Okay, so in affiliate marketing, you have earnings per click, EPC. As an example, most platforms measure EPC from a 7-day period to a 3-month period. Okay, you can also figure out what the actual cost per click is, just like you do on, say, Google search. You can actually measure that in affiliate. Okay, you want to eliminate fraudulent clicks, impressions, and conversions. So any affiliate platform worth its weight is going to help you understand, how many impressions and clicks and conversions you're getting and help you manage that in terms of fraudulent clicks. Or, hey, if you're getting a lot of impressions and no clicks, that's a problem too. So these platforms are really built on helping you manage your relationship with the affiliate by offering up all sorts of reports and tools. The other big benefit here to affiliate marketing tool is, hey, we can influence our customers throughout their buying journey. So we could set up different promotions based on, hey, did somebody go to the website? Did somebody see our product? Did somebody click on our product? Did somebody go into the shopping cart with our product? Did somebody purchase our product? So there's all sorts of steps in the funnel, so to speak. And hey, you can work with an affiliate, a publisher, to influence your customers throughout that purchasing funnel, throughout that journey. So let's go ahead and log in here. So when you log in, like any other digital marketing tool, any other platform, you're going to have your own settings and whatnot. So really the whole idea behind any affiliate marketing tool is really there to manage your publishers. Who do you want as a publisher? Who do you want selling your product? You obviously want somebody who's relevant, somebody who's going to be able to sell the product, somebody who has a targeted audience that's similar to yours. Okay, so we go into cj.com, we're going to log in, and here you can see a publisher's link. So we're going to click on the publisher's link. And remember, when you sign up publishers, you have to have program terms. And so if we click on publishers, program terms, we're going to be able to see all the different program terms available. So here we could see the different program terms we have set up for certain publishers. So we just click on that. We'll be able to see that's the default program term. So remember, you could set up your own program term for any publisher. So as a best practice, if you have publishers who are actually performing well, who are selling your products, maybe you want to offer them a little bit more on the commission side. Maybe you want to sweeten the deal. Maybe, these publishers get better program terms versus, say, other publishers who don't. And so here we can see the program terms. Basically, you could see what the terms are, the action, and the different policies here. So everything you need to do to manage that publisher in terms of payment is done under the program terms. Now, if the program terms are met, the publisher actually sells your products. CJ is the broker. They're the ones who are going to initiate the payment based on the program terms. So be careful on the program terms. You want to be able to set them appropriately. CJ has templates. CJ has some default program terms that you could use and offer up to different publishers. So based on the program terms, that's how your publishers are going to get paid. And so here you can have as many different program terms as you want. There's no limit here. You want to be able to align and reward program terms, again, based on performance. And so here we can see what publishers are under what program terms. So again, if your publisher's performing well, sweeten the deal. Offer them a better program terms. And so you can align publishers with different program terms. And so that's the whole idea behind program terms, is you want to be able to align publishers with that. So when you sign up a publisher, they're going to get aligned with a program term, meaning what are they going to get paid for selling your product? Now, if we want to manage by status instead of by program terms, we could see all the different organizations we have in our network. These are our publishers. We're the affiliate. We're the ones selling the product. We want to know who's selling, who's not selling. And so we can look at all our publishers by program terms or by status. Okay, so basically you can see here the term status, whether it's active or not, earnings, basically what they've sold over the last basically 7 days or 3 months. So you could look at basically how your publishers are performing just by clicking on Manage by Status here in CJ.com. So when you're looking at reports in CJ.com or really any other affiliate program, you might see the acronym EPC. This stands for earnings per click. Actually, it's a little misleading. It's actually earnings per 100 clicks. So basically, CJ calculates, how much your publisher's actually making per click. Just like paid search, we're paying Google X amount per click. It's the same thing here. We can't, or these publishers can't make any money if they don't generate clicks. So that's why you have an EPC model or metric, so to speak, so you can measure earnings per click. CJ does it over a 7-day period and over a 3-month period. So you could sort based on 7-day or 3-month to see who's earning the most per click in terms of publishers. Now, you can select under publishers groups. Now, you can group your publishers. Okay, so if you have, say, a group of publishers in a specific region like the United States or India, or if you're just focused on the United States and say you have publishers in different states like Texas, California, Missouri, Arkansas, well, you can group those publishers into different groups, and you can look at your different group names here. So here we could see Canada. And so we have our publishers grouped into a group called Canada. Why? Because they're based in Canada. Makes sense. So you want to be able to organize your publishers because the whole idea behind affiliate marketing, CJ, is you want to be able to get the best publishers available for your network. And so as you get more publishers for your network, you'll be able to basically start grouping them where it makes sense. Now, the example I gave you is by geography. You could do by geography, or you could do by publisher status, meaning my best performing publishers go into a group. If they're in a group, then they get aligned with a certain program term. So you could group your publishers any way you want, by status, meaning they're selling more, these are our best performing publishers, or by region, or, by promotion. I mean, how you group your publishers is totally up to you. However, take advantage of the option to create publisher groups, because the whole idea, again, I'm going to repeat it, is you want to get publishers and you want to start building your base of publishers, because the more publishers you have, the more chance you are to sell your product. Remember, if nobody clicks on your product, then nobody's going to buy your product. So if you have publishers who are promoting your product for you, then you have a good opportunity to sell it. So the more publishers you have on board, the better the opportunity. So now, once you have publishers, you can start grouping these publishers accordingly to whatever makes sense. It's a business decision. Just know the options available in CJ to group publishers. Let's turn our attention to social media marketing tools. Social media, always a great topic to talk about. So we're going to finish up all our digital marketing tools with social media. We talked about SEO, paid, competition, affiliate, email, web analytics. It's just appropriate to finish up with social media because social media has so many tools available. So many. Okay. The first one I can think about here is Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a great social media marketing tool to use. Okay, it's a freemium. Okay, you can set up a free trial here. You basically a base account, and then you can use Hootsuite to do a lot of things. Anything from setting up landing pages to actually publishing content to listening. Hootsuite, to me, is one of the most powerful social media marketing tools available. You got Buffer. Buffer is a paid version, but you can actually set up a low cost or free account actually on Buffer and then move to a paid account. Okay, you got TweetDeck, it's been around a long time. That is actually free, and I would recommend TweetDeck, and we're going to take a look at that here in a couple minutes. Okay, and then you got Sprout Social. Sprout Social is another social marketing platform similar to Hootsuite. Do a lot of reporting, a lot of publishing, a lot of listening. And so we're going to take a look at Sprout Social today as well. Before we do that, let's go over why these tools are important to us. From a social media perspective, you're pumping out a lot of content. So you need to be able to smartly, efficiently, schedule and manage your post. Okay, so you're not just working likely with just one platform like Facebook. You're probably on a number of different platforms. Depending on your business, depending on your bandwidth, depending on what you're selling, your products, etc. Your audience obviously has a lot to do with it. It could be Instagram, Pinterest. You want to be able to consolidate all that and manage it in one place. And that's what social media marketing tools do. They allow you to manage everything in one place. So if you can manage everything in one place, then these social media marketing platforms need to be able to make it easy for you to add and manage different accounts. Okay, so a lot of them have the ability for you to add, not just one Twitter account, but multiple Twitter accounts. And not just one social media platform, but multiple social media platforms. And a good social media marketing tool worth its weight will help you monitor the results. So monitor social media posts that help drive leads and sales. In other words, you're going to have a lot of different metrics associated with each social media marketing platform. Okay, which one is actually doing its job? Okay, so you want to be able to easily manage these platforms, applications, and websites very efficiently. Okay, so instead of having to log into each platform, you just log into one place, get a sense of what's been posted, what the engagement is, did they purchase, etc. And what you want to do is be able to individually customize every social media post across different platforms. So it just makes it a lot easier to do that in these social media marketing tools. Okay, you don't want to send out a blanket message across different platforms. You want to be able to go ahead and customize a post depending on what that post is, depending on what the product is, what time of day, what target market, what target audience. So customization is a lot easier using these social media marketing tools. You want to be able to engage with brand advocates. So listening is a good thing with social media marketing tools, using the listening functionality so you can actually see who is a brand advocate, who's not a brand advocate, who's an influencer, who's not an influencer. And then, of course, you want to analyze the behavior of your audience and optimize individual posts on real-time data. So if, for example, you post something using one of these social media marketing platforms and you see it go viral, then you want to be able to react to that in real time. So you're going to be able to see that in real time on these social media marketing tools, these platforms like Sprout Social and Hootsuite. And then you're going to be able to react to that behavior. And then, of course, monitoring website traffic and conversion rates, that's key. We always want to monitor conversions based on our KPIs, our business goals. So there are also a few important digital marketing tools that can help you in different ways. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump in and take a look at what's available in terms of social media marketing. So just a quick reminder, if you are running ads on Facebook or you're posting on Facebook as an example, or any platform in general, that platform's going to have its own metrics, if you will. So for example, Facebook has something called Facebook Insights. So you'll be able to actually see, what's been posted based on, the last 7 days. In this example, how many page views you're getting, engagements, recent posts. So just to let you know, yes, you can go into any one of these platforms on its own and look at metrics. Just like you can do if you're running Facebook ads. Hey, you can go right into Facebook Ads Manager and view data there. Okay, so the whole point here, though, on using a social media tool is that you can measure all that in one place. So if we log into Sprout Social, I can set up these accounts right into Sprout Social. So I don't have to log in Twitter individually or Facebook individually. I can link them up all within Sprout Social. And then I can go to reports, just like I can with Facebook Insights. And then once I'm in Sprout Social reporting, then I can go ahead, just like I can in Facebook Insights, except it's all right here for me. I can jump into, Facebook and dig a little bit deeper as to what's going on with my account. So I don't have to log into Facebook directly. I can see, the impressions, the engagement, the clicks over a period of time. I can see my audience growth. I can see my publishing behavior, how often am I publishing. I can see the top post individually. I can see impressions by day. A lot of this same material, same information is already in Facebook Insights. So if it's available in Facebook Insights, you're definitely going to have it available in a tool like Sprout Social. So you want to be able to just efficiently log in and jump from one platform to the other. So here, I can go to Instagram, and look at Instagram data, or I can look at Twitter information. So you want to be able to efficiently jump from one platform to the other using, in this example, Sprout Social. Now, as I mentioned, as part of one of the benefits of a social media tool is that you can publish content. You want to be able to publish content because you want to be able to organize and schedule accordingly. You don't want to be submitting and publishing content right after one another. Okay, you want to be able to spread it out efficiently and effectively. And so here we could see, we could publish and schedule content accordingly. So all we have to do is click compose, select a profile, write whatever we need to do. We could schedule it for tomorrow at a specific time, and there you go. Voila, scheduled. So this is on Twitter. Okay, so we could choose another platform here. It's just that easy to schedule. So you want to be able to schedule accordingly because, again, when you schedule something, then you want to look at the behavior of it. So it's just as simple as going from publishing to reporting. And then based on when something got published, you could see the reaction of it and react to it. So another thing here that I like about Sprout Social, Hootsuite, a lot of these other platforms do it really well. You got listening tools. So you can listen in on conversations that are being had. For example, mail delivery. If we do mail delivery on Twitter search, we'll be able to see what's been tweeted about mail deliveries. If that's the business we're in, we can refine our search and choose a specific location, a radius to hone in if we're local. Okay, so this is Sprout Social's example of listening. Here, let's take a look at another example. I'm in later.com. So later, very similar to Sprout Social in that it does a lot of the same things. You can actually schedule content on a particular platform. And one thing I like about later here, you can actually see it visually. You can see a calendar and what's been scheduled. So I can see today I have something scheduled at 1:15 local time. And again, I have 5 profiles set up for this account. So I can pick and choose the profile that I want to publish to. So it just makes it that much easier and I can visually see it. And that's important. So here I can click on media library. So the one thing about later.com is that, you have a library of images that potentially you can reuse. So if I click on this image here, okay, I can get a sense of when it was used and I can view it on a calendar. I can add a label for it. So that's another benefit to later is that they have this media library here. They have conversations. So I can actually connect to a platform and listen in on conversations that are being had, similar to the listening tool in Sprout Social. And they have analytics, so you can actually see right in later.com how your particular social media platform is performing. So I can see it here over 7 days. I can see the number of followers have increased. I can see the growth rate. I can see the number of impressions that I've received. Okay, so I want to be able to see how my particular platform is performing over a period of time. So I can look at reach, a lot of profile views, website clicks. Okay, so I can get a lot of good insights here right in the analytics platform of later. You can look at specific post performance. So if we posted something, I could see basically how many likes it received, how many comments, impressions, the reach. And then if I wanted to, I can click on details and get more specific information on it. Engagement rate, okay, discovery, actions, comments, saves, etc. So later.com goes into some nice detail about post performance. They even have data on hashtags. So if you use a hashtag, you can actually see how many times the hashtag's been used or saved, how many impressions it's received. Okay, so they really go into some nice detail here about how your post and how your accounts are performing. And here's a tool I really like, I've been using for a long time, and that's TweetDeck. So what TweetDeck does is connect with your Twitter account. So you can see in a different visual, so to speak, of how your Twitter account looks in terms of your feed. Here I can see this is my feed here. Okay, I can see some notifications. I can see specific messages. Then on this column, I can see activity. Okay, so I can add different columns here if I wanted to. And basically by adding columns, you can see I can look for what's trending as an example. So I'm going to add in a column that says trending. And so now I can go in and see, okay, these are all the different things that are trending on Twitter. So you can actually add a column and pay attention to something really specific. Okay, so for example, search. Okay, so right now I have men's health, but I could type in, let's just say World Cup. Okay, so I could see you got the cricket World Cup, you got, the soccer, football World Cup going on. So, we could pick a particular topic to follow if we wanted to. So again, here I'm following men's health. So I can now see, everything that's been posted on men's health. Now, if I click on, for example, one of these hashtags here that's trending, I can actually see who's tagging or using that hashtag Friday Feeling in their tweets. And so the whole idea behind, TweetDeck, it serves up a interesting overview, so to speak, of not only your account, but, a specific topic or what's trending or, other things that are being said. So if you really want to pay attention to your brand or something really specific like, your competitors or a specific product, then you can just do a search on that. And so that's the great thing about TweetDeck. It allows you to kind of just look and listen in on everything going on in Twitter. Now, we do have a good video out here on YouTube, how to start social media marketing. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, take a look. It goes over some of these tools that we cover today, like Sprout Social, Later.com, Facebook Insights. So it does cover in more detail some of what we covered on these social media marketing tools. So take a look at how to start social media marketing. So we covered a lot of different marketing tools, digital marketing tools, everything from SEO to email to social to paid to affiliate to competitor. But there's also a few other digital marketing tools that you can use in different ways, like video SEO, for example. So vidIQ, we want to use vidIQ to get a good sense of how a particular video is performing. So here, if we go into YouTube, you can see vidIQ is a browser extension or a plugin, if you will. So I can go and take a look at a specific video and see how many hours it's been watched, how many views, minutes watched, subscribers, etc. The great thing here, I can look at the entire account. So I can get good insights into my video or my entire account here, just by adding in the vidIQ extension into my Chrome browser. So vidIQ actually does give you some really, really good insights into not only your account, but the video. And so recommend vidIQ because it's good for video SEO. Okay, there's also tools related to content optimization. So, if you're doing SEO and you have a lot of content on your site, well, you know what? We want to be able to use a tool, maybe a third-party tool to give some objective reasoning as to what more we can be doing. So you got tools like SEO Site Checkup or Site Analyzer. These are paid tools, but if you're really heavily invested in SEO, then they may pay dividends for you. You want to be able to make sure your content is fully optimized to the fullest according to, Google's algorithms. And so you maybe, want to invest in that third-party tool. So these are good tools to use for content optimization. There's also other Reddit, but, there's Keyword Planner in Google. There's also WordStream. There's a lot of different keyword tools out there. So you may not have a Google Ads platform. And so if you don't have Google Ads, then you may not be able to gain access to Google's Keyword Planner. So having a third-party keyword tool will pay dividends as well, because those dividends pay off in the form of not only pay-per-click, but also SEO. And if you're heavily invested in content, heavily invested in social, then you may want to take a look at the keyword tool, keyword it, and it's primarily used for Reddit. We talk about page load time. So we looked at that in Google Analytics. We know that it heavily impacts SEO. So there are other tools available. You got a third-party tool here that's free, SolarWinds Pingdom. You actually have PageSpeed Insights by Google. So these are free tools that you could take advantage of in determining how you can improve your page load time. My favorite topic, conversion rate optimization. So you got a couple in here, Crazy Egg and Zarget. Okay, so I'm going to show you another tool called Hotjar. So here, if you log into hotjar.com, you can set up an account. It's actually free. And with a free account, you can have Hotjar measure the heat map, not only the heat map, but the click mapping, the scrolling of a particular page. And so here you can see we're looking at a particular page here. So Hotjar allows me to, see on that page where people are clicking. I can also see where people are moving. I can also see, the scrolling of a particular page. Okay, so you can see here on the page, I can see people are moving over here to the right. That's where they're clicking mostly. If I switch over to move mode, then I can see on that particular page where people are actually moving their mouse. And then I have my scroll analysis. So I could see, how far down people actually scroll on the page. And so again, with a paid account, you can measure up to 10,000 page views. With the free version, you can measure up to 2,000 page views. And so 2,000 page views allows you to get some insight as to what people are clicking on or where they're moving or how they're scrolling on a particular page. And so I definitely recommend Hotjar. They also do funneling. They also do forms, polls, lots of other tools available in Hotjar. So hotjar.com is a tool I would recommend as well. So one final tool, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, and that's Google Optimize. So Google Optimize is a Google platform that allows you to A/B test. And so A/B testing means that you have an original page and you're changing one element on that page to see which one performs better. And so with Google Optimize, it's just very easy to set up, to run. And the whole point of Google Optimize and A/B testing is to improve website performance. So here you can see I have an account set up on Optimize. You can see we're running one test here, and we're just testing one element versus the original. So we move photos to the top of the page. The original didn't have the photos to the top of the page. And so we can go into reporting here. Google Optimize does all the heavy lifting. And so here you can see we can look at bounces, or we can look at, basically measure the test up against a metric that's important to our business. And again, the whole point is to improve website performance. And so definitely take a look at Google Optimize. We'll have another webinar in the future on the topic, but to me, Google Optimize is free. You can run up to 5 tests. Okay, and if you can run up to 5 different tests, then that means you have the ability to really improve website performance. Okay, so Google Optimize is a tool that I would recommend. Today we're going to talk about why you would want to rank using SEO. And SEO is search engine optimization, also known as organic search. You also may hear us say organic listings. But we're going to talk a little bit about why you'd want to rank your website in organic search. Okay, what is search engine optimization? Then we're going to follow that up with how does Google rank websites? So why does it rank one website over another? And how do we get our website to rank number 1? Then we're going to talk about the different types of SEO or search engine optimization techniques so you can get your website ranked number 1. And then we're going to finish that off with the do's and don'ts of SEO. So let's get right to it and talk about why SEO. So we're going to use a basic example, and let's just say you have a blog. You're a food blogger, you're passionate about food, and your niche is ice cream. And let's just say you have a lot of ice cream recipes. You want to get traffic to your blog. You want people to read your blog. And you're curious, why am I not ranking for my blog? Why, when people type in ice cream recipes and say Google, my blog posts don't appear at the top of organic rankings? And there's a number of reasons why you wouldn't be ranked for your blog post or your ice cream recipes. And the main reason would be your competitors. So there could be somebody else out there who is also passionate about ice cream and has been blogging longer than you. And they have more content and more blog posts and more pages for Google to rank. So that's usually the number one reason. The other reason is improper usage of keywords. And we're going to talk a little bit, or it's actually a lot more about, keyword usage in your content. So what kind of keywords do you want to rank for? That's really what we're talking about when we talk about usage of keywords. What keywords do you want to rank for, and how do we work those keywords into the content? Another reason is poor link building practices. And really that means are other blog posts or other websites linking to you? Also, are you linking to other pages on your website? And so it's all about link building. And with link building, it's internal linking. So are we linking from one blog post to another? And it's external linking. Are other websites of high quality linking to us? And so that's what we talk about when we talk about link building. And then another reason is web page load time. So you could be running your blog post on, say, WordPress, for example, and your blog post isn't loading fast enough. Well, if you look at it this way, think about it. If you're Google, would you really want to rank a website or blog post in this example, number one on Google rankings, if that particular page loaded very slow? No, you wouldn't, because when somebody clicked on that link in organic search and went to your website, they're going to have a bad experience because the page is going to load slow. So Google doesn't want their users to have a bad experience. You don't want your users to have a bad experience. And so that's why web page load time is a critical factor for ranking. So we need to make sure that our web pages load fast. And then your user experience is not good enough. So Google, again, based on my example about the web page load time, Google wants people to have a good experience when they go from their search engine to your website. And there's a lot at play there, specifically web page load time, but also, Google doesn't want any spam content. Google doesn't want any pop-ups or overbearing ads on the web page. They want people who are searching for something in particular, let's just say ice cream recipes, and they want to find a relevant website that has ice cream recipes. They want to be able to click on that link and read some good content about ice cream recipes. It's that simple. And that's really what Google's trying to create in their environment. And that's you as an end user, as a website owner, you want your users to have a good experience. And then last but not least, your website is de-indexed by mistake. And really what we mean is de-indexed is Google needs to be able to index all the pages on your website. So if you have a blog with 100 recipes, you want Google to have access to all 100 recipes. So we're going to talk a little bit later about how to get your pages ranked or indexed on Google organic search. So let's move on to what is SEO. So sticking with our ice cream blog theme, really SEO, search engine optimization, really is the practice of increasing your pages that Google has indexed up the rankings. So the end result is we want all our pages to be ranked number one for particular keywords. So if you want to be ranked for ice cream recipes, well, there's certain things you need to do. So that's generally how it works. We need to apply search engine optimization to increase a page for a keyword we want to be found for. So let me give you an example. So let's just say there's 100 students that participated in an essay competition. And so the competition in this particular case is evaluated on the basis of, is the content relevant? Are they using suitable titles for their essay? Do they have structure when they're participating in this essay or talking about the essay? And do they have a suitable synopsis? And is the content neat and readable? These seem all logical for an essay competition. Well, guess what? They seem logical for SEO because that's exactly how SEO works. It's exactly all those points I just mentioned about structure, logic, readability, organization, title. All those things are what's important in SEO. And so we need relevant content. We need titles for our pages. Google needs to be able to see structure. We need to have synopsis of what the page is about, and that's called the meta description. And then again, the content needs to be readable, and that's important. And so in order to be readable, again, we're going to talk more about site speed because site speed's important. Okay. And when we talk about responsive design, when I say responsive design, that means your site, your page needs to load both on desktop and also on mobile. And so all these things are important. Just like an essay competition, Google is the judge, and they need to be able to determine what page is best to rank number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. on Google search. And then link building. Remember I mentioned link building a moment ago? Well, link building internally and externally also plays a vital role. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the class when we talk about off-page SEO. How does Google rank website? And basically, Google follows 3 basic steps to rank a website. They need to crawl your website. They need to take what they crawl back to their servers. And when they take it back to their servers, your web pages, they need to have them available for indexing. So when somebody actually types in a keyword into google.com, it'll be available to be found on organic search. So that's what indexing is all about. And then Google's job when somebody does type in a search query is to basically rank those pages that they've indexed from number 1 to infinity, depending on how many pages are relevant to that search query. So really it's about crawling, indexing, and ranking. So crawling is simply a process done by which Google has bots. And what these bots do is they go to your web server and they're going to crawl every page that they can find. And how do they find these pages? Well, they basically follow links. You might have heard the term spidering, but that's what they call search engine spidering. So basically what Google's doing is they're building a web, so to speak, all the links that they're following. And so when they can follow all these links on your website, they're going to be able to crawl them. And when they crawl them, basically they're going to take that content and store it on their servers so it's available in their index. So based on this method, Google finds out which websites have relevant content and which ones don't based on certain keywords that are typed into Google. Because if they can't crawl your website, you're not going to be found. And if you can't be found, then you're not going to show up for relevant keywords. So we need to make sure your site's available to be crawled. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, but let's show you an example. So let's just go to Google search. And if I type in the keyword simply learn, okay, I could see I have 1,010,000 results. Okay, and that's how many results are showing up for simply learn. Okay, now they may not all be simply learn pages, but nonetheless, simply learned is ranked number 1 here organically. And there are 1,010,000 pages related to the keyword simply learn. Now, when it comes to organic search, we don't want to get it confused with paid search. So anytime you see paid search, you're going to see something that says ad next to it. Okay, so we could see that there are paid ads here, but when it comes to organic search, those are generally below paid ads. And so that's where Google counts the 1,010,000 results. And so that's the whole idea behind crawling and indexing. Google's able to crawl Simply Learn's website, and based on all the pages that they gather, they're going to make those pages available in organic search. So if you type in a keyword and your web page is not available for indexing, then you're never going to show up for that keyword. So that's why it's important to make sure your website is available for crawling and indexing. And so when a user types a query on Google search, the most relevant websites that are in Google's index are going to appear in the search results. So in the example I gave with Simply Learn, well, Simply Learn is the brand name of the company Simply Learn. So there's a lot of relevancy there. So that's why you see Simply Learn show up here organically, number 1. Like we mentioned about what is SEO and why SEO, we talked about that user experience. So there's a lot of factors that go into ranking, relevancy being one of them. So in the Simply Learn example, Simply Learn is relevant to a lot of the Simply Learn pages because that's who they are, Simply Learn. However, Simply Learn also needs to make sure that, for their pages, the page load time is fast, meaning these pages load very fast for the end user. And Google also takes into account other factors, like how long someone is staying on a website. Or are they bouncing, meaning are they going to one page that they land on and then leaving the website? Okay, and so the user experience is very, very important. There are other factors also like language and location. And so, for example, location, if you do a search, say in India, the results are going to be a little bit different than, say, the results in the United States. Why? Because Google is indexing as many web pages as they can find. So if somebody's doing a search in India, their results may be a little bit different than the results show up in the US because Google has different bots. And these bots are crawling different pages at different times. And so Google's index is updating continuously, but it's not real-time syncing. So if you do a search in India, you may not see exactly the same thing because both search engines, the Google in India and the Google in the US, may not be exactly synced up. So an example would be, if you're looking for cafe. So if you search a cafe in, say, San Francisco, you're going to see different results. Now, if you do a search for cafes in Mumbai, you're going to see different results. There's going to be local search here at the top. There may be some paid search, but again, you may see different results because one, location, but two, Google search engines in India and United States, google.com, aren't exactly synced up exactly at the same exact time you do that search. So location is important, language is important, and relevancy is important, along with user experience. So all those are important factors in how Google ranks websites. Okay, so we're going to talk about the types of SEO now. So if we want to rank for a particular keyword on Google, we're going to have to apply search engine optimization. And so there's two strategies to search engine optimization: on-page SEO and off-page SEO. So first, we're going to talk about on-page SEO. So on-page SEO is nothing more than optimizing your own website. And so when we say optimizing your own website, there's certain elements on your website and on your web pages that we need to take into account. And so some of those elements are headers, meta descriptions, title tags, linking. So all of those elements are something we can control as an end user who wants to rank our web page and our website on Google. And before we do anything with our website, the first thing we need to do is understand what keywords we want to rank for. In order to understand what keywords we want to rank for, we need to do keyword research. And if you do anything in SEO, keyword research is the most important activity. That's the most important thing you can do for SEO. And why do I say it's the most important? Because you need to understand, if you choose a keyword that you want to rank for, you need to understand how much traffic you're going to get from that keyword. If you're ranked organically, say number 1 on Google, so how much traffic will you get if you're ranked number 1 on Google? So you need to understand what the volume is. And then number 2, we need to understand what the competition is for that keyword that you want to rank for. So if you choose a keyword and there's not much competition for it, then chances are you can rank for that keyword for a web page on your website quicker than, say, a keyword that has a lot of competition. So we need to understand those two basic factors: volume and competition, before we choose a keyword. And it's simply the practice of going through the motions of getting your volume and getting your competition data so you can choose the keywords you want. And then once you choose the keywords you want, then you can go and apply on-page SEO. You can change the title tag, the meta descriptions, the headers. All those elements can be changed, but first you need to choose your keywords. And so, again, the primary components we're looking for are how much traffic you can get, or the search volume, how much competition there is for that keyword, and of course, relevancy. Okay, you need to be able to choose a keyword that's relevant to the web page you're trying to rank for. And so let me show you an example of how to go through this. So the first thing we want to do is we want to use a tool. And the tool I would recommend is Google Keyword Planner. And why do I choose Google Keyword Planner? Because if we're trying to rank on google.com or Google search engine, we want to be able to get the data right from the source. So Google's going to be able to give us information about how much volume a keyword has and how much competition it has. So let me show you an example. So if I want to use Google's Keyword Planner and I want to rank for the keyword how to become a digital marketing specialist, then I'm going to type that keyword into Google's Keyword Planner. And what Google's going to do is they're going to give me some trends about how much volume this particular keyword gets over the course of a year. And so for that particular keyword, I can see that there are trends that appear for both desktop and mobile. So mobile is important because people start their search process a lot of times on their mobile device. So we want to be able to get data from mobile as well as desktop. And so we could see a trend here that for each particular month, over the last 12 months, we can see how much volume this particular keyword, how to become a digital marketing specialist, gets per month. And so on average, over the past 12 months, I could see how to become a digital marketing specialist averages 30 searches a month. And this is on google.com. And so Google gives us the volume. What they also give us is the competition. And so here I can see Google says for that particular keyword, the competition is medium. And so in the Google's keyword planner, what they also do is give me other relevant keywords that I might think about optimizing for. Because you don't want to optimize for just one keyword. So how to become a digital marketing specialist, they're going to also offer up other types of keywords that are relevant. So just digital marketing specialist, social media marketing specialist. So for those keywords, I can see the volume. So for example, digital marketing specialist, I can see the average volume is 1,000 per month on average over the last 12 months. I can also see the competition is medium. But for some other keywords, I can see the search volume being high, like digital marketing course at 2,900 per month, but also the competition is high. And so what I would recommend as a best practice is to collect all your relevant keywords, okay? And put all your relevant keywords in a spreadsheet. And when you put all these relevant keywords in a spreadsheet, you want to get the data on those keywords. And the data I'm referring to is the volume and competition. So in this case, we have volume from Google Planner, Google's Keyword Planner, and I have competition from Google's Keyword Planner. And so if I go into a spreadsheet and I put all that information in here, I'm going to be able to see the volume and competition. And so that's important. However, one thing to note here is that Google's Keyword Planner, if I go back, just gives us low, medium, and high. And if I want to compare numbers to numbers, maybe I want to be able to get exactly the competition number for the keyword, how to become a digital marketing specialist. What I can do is go into Google and I can type in that keyword. So if I type in the keyword, how to become a digital marketing specialist, I can see there's 76 million results. So I could see 76 million results, 76.1 actually, and for the keyword, how to become a digital marketing specialist. Now that's a whole lot of results for this particular keyword, especially when the volume is only 30 per month on average. And so what I want to do is get a more clear picture of the competition. And so what you could actually do is type in the syntax all in title and then colon and then your keyword, how to become a digital marketing specialist. And when I do that, I get a different result. Here I can see only 136 listings for how to become a digital marketing specialist. But that's not just 136, that's 136 with that particular keyword that we want to rank for in the title tag. Okay, so the title tag is what you see when you type in a keyword or search query in Google search, and the title tag is what you see at the top of every search result. And so now I can see I typed in how to become a digital marketing specialist with the all in title syntax. And now I can see every listing, every one of these 136 results have that particular keyword in it. So I could see every one of them, how to become a digital marketing specialist. And why is that important? Because now that tells me I only need to climb over 136 listings to rank for that keyword, how to become a digital marketing specialist. And so the idea here is you want to get your volume from Google's Keyword Planner, but you want to get your competition from Google Search. And again, that's simply typing in the syntax, all in title, and then your keyword. In this example, how to become a digital marketing specialist. Once you get those two numbers, you're going to plug them into your spreadsheet. And then once you do that for a number of different keyword queries, and these keyword queries, again, have to be relevant. Once you do that, then you can go in and pick the keywords you want to optimize for. And that's important because, again, if you're not sure about a keyword, then you want to do the keyword research so you can be sure of how much traffic you can get and how much competition there is. Those are three important factors in starting the process for on-page SEO. So again, you want to create content for, say, a keyword like digital marketing. But digital marketing may seem a little bit broad. So you want to probably stay away from broader keywords because broader keywords tend to have a lot of volume, which is great, but they may also tend to have a lot of competition. But that's the whole point of doing the keyword research. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's more volume than competition. That's what you need to find out when you do the keyword research. You need to find those keywords that are relevant to your content, that have a lot of volume and low competition. And then once we identify those keywords, then we are free to go in and start optimizing our web pages for those keywords. And the first place we want to start is the title tag. So if you remember my example, going back here to our search, how to become a digital marketing specialist, we saw that every one of these listings had that keyword in the title tag. And the title tag is important because that's what users who use Google search see first when they type in a query and get results. So they're going to see the title tag. So the title tag is the most important element for on-page SEO. It's the most important factor because that's what people see. And so ideally when we choose our keyword, we want to make sure that keyword is in the title tag because that's what shows up in Google search. And that's what makes that particular web page relevant for that keyword query. So the idea behind a title tag, it's between 50 and 60 characters. And so we want to make sure we stay within that limit, no more than 60 characters, because what happens if it's beyond that, then Google will truncate the title tag. So if I go back to my search, you can see here on this particular title tag, Google truncated it, meaning they added the ellipses after the title tag because it exceeded the 60 character limit. So you want to stay within those character counts. And so the title tag is the first place you should start when optimizing your website. Because when we have the right keyword in the title tag and somebody types in that keyword, then chances are it's going to be relevant, they're going to see it, and they're going to click through to your website. And that's the whole idea behind ranking. We want to get clicks. So that's how the title tag appears. So when you optimize it, you're going to update the title tag, and this is how it shows up. It's going to show up at the top of your listing, okay, and it's going to be bigger and bolder than anything else Google displays. So the second thing you want to optimize is the meta description. And the meta description is simply just a brief description up to 155. I would say about 155 to 160 characters, but probably no more than that. And so the meta description is nothing more than a summary of the web page itself. So if I go back to my Google search results, I see my title tag and I see the page that this particular listing belongs to. And underneath that is where I can see my meta description. So in this particular keyword query, how to become a digital marketing specialist, I see the meta description, an ultimate guide on how to build a career in digital marketing and the skills required to become a digital marketing specialist. Note that it's a well-written meta description with 155 characters, and it includes the keyword digital marketing specialist. So we're trying to rank for how to become a digital marketing specialist, and here you can see become a digital marketing specialist. So there's a lot of relevancy between not only the title tag and the keyword, but the meta description in the keyword. So when you're optimizing a keyword, you want to start with the title tag, but you also want to update the meta description. Because if you don't update the meta description and you leave the meta description blank, then you're leaving it to Google to add in copy that they deem relevant. And so for on-page SEO, we want to take control of the copy and we want to optimize it for the keywords we want to be found for. So the meta description is a powerful tool at our disposal. It gives us more characters to work with. It gives us more to talk about. So for that particular page. And so if the title tag is only 60 characters maximum, it's not a lot of information to try and get somebody to click. So the meta description helps us in identifying what that page is about in order to get the click. So the two working in tandem will hopefully increase your click-through rates. So when you're found organically, we want to get the click. And then the third element that's important is the URL. And URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. And why is the URL so important? Because that's what people see. So if I go back to my search result, how to become a digital marketing specialist, notice that the URL also includes how to become a digital marketing specialist article. Okay, so it's very relevant. The URL is very relevant. One, we can see it in the search results. But two, it's relevant to the keyword query. And that's important for the end user and Google. Google wants to know, hey, is this the page that's relevant to the user's query? And if it is, then this user's likely going to have a good user experience after they click on the listing. So the URL is an element that helps not only with the click-through rate, but with ranking. And having a poor URL structure doesn't help at all, because not only does Google not recognize the URL as being relevant, but the end user may not want to click on that page given the way the URL looks. So you want to try and avoid a poor URL structure. So the rule of thumb is this: if you don't understand what the URL is, then Google is likely not going to understand what the URL is. And so we want to try and keep our URL structures clean. And when I say clean, ideally you want to make sure that whatever keyword you're trying to optimize, that's the keyword that's included in the URL. Nothing included that is not understandable. So again, going back to our example, how to become a digital marketing specialist. It's very clean. The title tag is the keyword. The meta description is cleanly written, has the keyword. And then the URL is the other element that the end user can see, and that URL includes the keyword in it. So after we've done those three elements, the title tag, the meta description, and the URL, then we want to start optimizing the page itself. So ideally, when we say optimize the page itself, the page, remember, needs to be structured. And when we say structured, it needs to be structured in terms of, headers and subheaders, and organized in a manner in which the end user can read the article, read the content clearly and concisely without being confused. And so that's the job of headers. They add basically an organizational structure to the content. And with headers, there's a hierarchy. So you have anywhere from H1, which is the top of the hierarchy, to an H6. And so you're free to use any one of those headers when building out a page in order to organize the content. But ideally, you probably want to stick with an H1 or an H2, because those are at the top of the hierarchy. And what those do is they actually stress to Google that, hey, this header with this particular keyword in it is important. So if you use an H6 with the keyword in it, it's telling Google, hey, this is an H6, but it's not as important. So an H1 and an H2 tag show importance. And so let's look at an example of what that is. So here you can see an H1 is going to be at the top of the hierarchy, so that means it's going to be bigger and bolder. Then you have an H2, which is going to be bigger and bolder than an H3, but not as big and bold as an H2. So with headers, not only are you organizing the content accordingly, but you're also signaling to Google how important that particular header is. And of course, the header needs to include the keyword we're trying to rank for. So let's take a look again at that example. So if we go to how to become a digital marketing specialist, if I click on that page, I can look at the content and I can see that there are headers in here. So the headers are there to organize the content. And that's what we want. We want to be able to organize the content. And if you look at the other example I'm showing here, how to become a digital marketing specialist, learning paths explored, you can see that's an H1, but below it's a subheader, the growing digital marketing job market. So that's an H2. And so we're not stressing to Google that that's more important than an H1, but nonetheless, we're stressing to Google that it's important nonetheless. So we want to be able to use headers. We want to be able to use keywords in our headers in order to stress to Google what's important, and also to organize the content, because Google likes content organized. Okay, the next element we want to focus on is internal linking. And so internal linking, if you remember earlier in the presentation, is basically links from one page on your website to another. And so here we can see on this particular article, how to become a digital marketing specialist. There's also links to other pages on Simply Learn's website. And so for this particular content, it also links to SEO specialist, PPC specialist, social media marketing specialist, and digital marketing specialist. So the whole idea behind internal linking is to link from one page to another where it's relevant. And in this case, it's relevant because we're talking about how to become a digital marketing specialist. That's what the whole content is about. And so what Simply Learn's doing here is offering up other pages on their website that are relevant to becoming a digital marketing specialist. And so this is a best practice when you're optimizing a web page. So you want to be able to have internal linking on your site. And the whole idea behind internal linking is it also allows users to navigate through the site naturally. So when I say naturally, they don't always have to refer back to the top navigation. They can naturally and seamlessly go from one relevant article or page to another. And so that's the whole idea behind link building and internal link building. It allows Google to identify pages that they want to crawl and index because they're linked to one another. But it also helps the end user because it allows the end user to go from one page to another. And it's signaling to Google, hey, this particular page is linked to this page, so we're going to also index that page. And so that's the whole important part of internal linking. It's about the end user experience, rank or try to rank for the keyword digital marketing. 1, it's too broad. 2, there might be some competition. But 3, you're probably not going to write something as broad like digital marketing. So ideally what you want to do is you want to choose other relevant, related keywords that's going to be more natural. And so that's what we mean by natural language processing. We want to choose keywords that are more natural to the content you're writing. So instead of the keyword digital marketing, maybe we want to talk about the types of digital marketing or digital marketing examples, or what is a digital marketing strategy, or how to become a digital marketing specialist. So those are all relevant keywords to digital marketing and more relevant to the content. Because if you try to rank for the keyword digital marketing, again, it's probably going to be a little bit broad, probably more competition, and not as relevant to your content. And as a result, probably not a good user experience. So think about some other keywords that you could optimize and rank for. And that goes back to the keyword research. That's why the keyword research is so important, because it allows us to identify other keywords in the natural language process. What keywords are more relevant for the content? And then another element to on-page SEO is the sitemap. And so with a sitemap, it's basically a list of all the pages on your website. And the whole idea of listing all the pages on your website in one document is it helps both users and search engines understand the structure of your website. So there are 2 types of sitemaps. One's an HTML sitemap, and that's designed for humans. So if you have a website with a lot of content, at the footer or the bottom of your web page, you probably want to have a link to sitemap. So if somebody clicks on that sitemap, they're going to be able to see all the pages on your website, structured in an organized manner. Well, an XML sitemap, and XML is just a different format. It's designed for crawlers. And so the whole idea, remember, is Google likes to crawl content. When they crawl content, they bring it back to their servers and index it. And so we want to be able to create a sitemap for Google or other search engine crawlers. And so XML is the format. So let me show you an example of how that looks. So if I go to simplylearn.com and simply type in, say, sitemap.xml, just as an example, I'm going to get this particular page. And this particular page displays 2 XML sitemaps. So these sitemaps are there for Google to go ahead and crawl, and nothing more than a list of all the pages on your website. And so this is a quick and easy way for Google to get a hold of all those pages so that they can index them. And that's the whole idea behind SEO. You want to be able to have Google index all the content you want to be found for the keywords you want to be found for. So it all starts with the sitemap. So let's go from on-page SEO, which in recap is basically optimizing certain elements on your website so that you are relevant for a particular keyword. And that meant updating the title tag, the meta description, the URL, the headers, choosing the right keywords to put into the content, having internal linking, and also updating the sitemap. Well, those are elements that you can do on your website.
So we're going to switch gears and talk about a different strategy, off-page SEO, because without on-page or off-page, you can't have a page ranking. So the two work together. So you can do as much as you want on-page, but you still need off-page SEO. And you could do all the off-page SEO you want, but you still need on-page. So both of these strategies have to be in full effect in order for you to rank. So let's now switch gears to off-page SEO. And so off-page SEO is simply the process of linking or promoting your website using link building. And so if you remember, I talked about this earlier on. There's two types of links, internal and external linking. And so for on-page SEO, we used internal linking. For off-page SEO, we're going to talk about external linking. And external linking allows us to improve our website's recognition or relevancy or credibility. And why do we want to improve our relevancy and credibility and trustworthiness and authority? Because we want Google to know that our webpage is trustworthy. It is recognized by other websites, and it is relevant for a particular keyword. And so if we can do that using off-page SEO methods, then Google's going to rank our webpage for the keyword we want to be found for. So it's really off-page SEO is synonymous with link building, and there's plenty of opportunities to do link building. It just comes down to creating a strategy. So again, some of the benefits to off-page, well, we talked about being credible and trustworthiness and relevant. We need to do that in order to rank. But there's some other benefits there. So if we have a link on another credible website, then it's likely going to increase the traffic to our own website. It also creates high domain authority. And so what I mean by high domain authority is if we have basically links to other web pages pointing back to us, then basically our domain authority is going to improve. And when our domain authority improves, other websites are going to want to link to us. So the higher authoritative we are for our website, then other web pages are going to want to link to us. And so the more external linking we have, the higher the domain authority. So it all starts with linking to other high domain authority websites. So linking to a high domain authority website, for example, having a link on Wikipedia that points back to our webpage creates high domain authority for us, and it helps drive traffic. So some of the other benefits of off-page SEO are credibility. So if we're linking from Wikipedia to our webpage, it does create credibility for us. It also helps us increase our page rank. So remember that external linking helps build domain authority, helps build credibility, trustworthiness, and it's going to in turn help us rank for that particular page. And then certainly not last, having a good off-page SEO link building strategy increases our brand awareness, because if we're on other high authority websites, Wikipedia, or say a social platform, it's going to increase our brand awareness. And increasing our brand awareness increases our trustworthiness. And so if somebody is looking to, say, become a digital marketing specialist, then likely instead of typing in digital marketing specialist on Google, they may type in our brand name, in this case, Simply Learn. And so these are all the benefits to off-page SEO. So it's nothing more than having links on other websites that are pointing back to ours. And again, there's lots of benefits. It helps drive traffic and increases our authority. So those are things that we want to take advantage of when we want to rank. And the key behind off-page SEO or link building is always going to be content. So from an on-page SEO perspective, having quality content allows that content to be optimized for a relevant keyword and ranked. But also from an off-page SEO strategy, having high quality content allows us to have other sites, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a website. It could be a social platform, or it can be another blogging platform or blogging website, link back to ours. Why? Because the content is original, it's natural, it's well structured, it reads well. And so that's the whole idea behind off-page. You can't have links on other websites if you don't have quality content. So one of the ideas behind off-page SEO is not only do you want to create good content, but you probably want to spend a lot of time or a bit of time on others' websites. So remember the example I used earlier in this presentation about having an ice cream blog and ice cream recipes? Well, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to say spend some time on other blogs related to desserts, related to cakes, related to food in general, related to vegetables or other items that people could link from. So the whole idea is understanding who else is out there, who has relevant content that you could share. So you could share your content with them, they can share their content with you. And generally that's how it works naturally anyway. In the web sphere, if somebody likes your content, they're going to link to it. They don't necessarily have to wait for you to ask them. But it might not be a bad idea to understand who else is out there that has content similar to yours so that you can, get a link on that particular website or blog post. And so some other ideas behind having external links pointing back to your website is social media. So social media is not just Facebook or Twitter, but it expands beyond that. There's Quora, there's Medium, there's all sorts of content generated websites like Reddit. So the list goes on and on. You just need to find what's relevant for your content. If it's relevant for your content, then it's worth putting or trying to get the external link on that social media platform. And then again, going back to my ice cream blog recipes blog post, if you find a particular blog that you want to have an external link on, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to that particular blogger. In some cases, very flattering, but in other cases, if the content is relevant, then why not? It's only going to help your end user experience. If you add somebody who has, say, a blog about cakes, having their link on your blog post. So there's nothing wrong with it because it also adds to the user experience. And if you're going to ask somebody to put an external link on theirs, you might want to be open-minded and make sure that you are able and willing to put an external link on your blog post or website pointing to their content. That's how the web works, especially if the content's of quality, relevant, and of good nature. Okay, so let's move on and finish up with the do's and don'ts of SEO. So we talked a lot about why SEO, what is SEO, how do we rank for SEO, what is on-page SEO, what is off-page SEO. And so let's just wrap up with some of the things you, again, want to do to rank your page for a particular keyword and some of the things you don't want to do. So the first thing on the list is optimize for white hat techniques. And what I mean for opting in for white hat techniques is basically everything I just mentioned today. You want to do keyword research. You want to choose a natural language processing format so you could choose keywords that are going to be relevant, natural to the content. And you don't want to opt for black hat techniques. And black hat techniques are probably not even worth going into detail, but one example is choosing a keyword arbitrarily, like say digital marketing, and just stuffing that keyword into the content. So that's probably not something you want to do because again, it's not going to be good for the end user. So stay away from black hat and focus on some of the techniques we talked about in today's presentation. The other do we want to do is get backlinks from relevant sites. So that's off-page SEO. Again, it's what I mentioned earlier. It's about linking your quality content to another person's website that also has quality content. We don't want to have a backlink from an irrelevant site. Why? Because it's not going to be relevant, and it's also going to hurt our authority. Because if it's on a site that's not of good quality, then Google's going to look at us and say, well, this site is linking to your site, but it's not relevant. So therefore, we're not going to look at you in the same way as if you were on a quality website. We do want to use our keywords naturally because title tags are what people see first on organic search. But you don't want to use the same title tag on every page of your website. So we want to stay away from doing that. So you want to have a unique title tag for every web page on your website. And ideally, what does that mean? That means using our keyword research to choose 1 to 2 keywords per page and optimizing your web page for those 1 to 2 keywords. So ideally, what you want to do is have 1 to 2 different keywords for every page on your website. We definitely want to write engaging content. So the content should be engaging. Remember, user experience. We want users to stay on our website. We want them to enjoy the content that they're reading. And we want them to go from one page to another naturally. We definitely don't want to leverage or plagiarize or just copy content from others' websites, because it's not, one, probably going to be relevant to what you're writing about. Two, it's duplicate content and it's somebody else's. So that's a black cat technique we want to stay away from. I can't emphasize this enough. We need to do keyword research first before you do anything else. You need to find relevant keywords. And not only that, you need to understand the volume and the competition for each of those keywords. Okay, you don't want to choose a keyword that has low volume, high competition. You want to choose a keyword that has high volume, low competition. But above all, you want to choose keywords that are relevant to your content. We want to avoid keyword stuffing, so don't take a keyword and just stuff it everywhere on the page. It's not going to be natural, and Google's going to be able to pick up on that. So we want to maintain some level of quality with our content and quality with the keywords that we choose. So reminder, when you have quality content, it's always going to link internally to another page on your website with quality content. But it's got to be natural. And don't just build site-wide backlinks, meaning don't just have an internal link to the homepage, or don't have every page on your website linking to just one page. So internal linking should be natural, naturally linking from one page to another. Not only does it help Google understand and crawl all the web pages on your website, but it's good for the end user. It's good user experience. And certainly last, but something I didn't talk about, it does take time to rank your content. So remember the process. You're going to write your content. You're going to choose keywords. You're going to change the elements on that page for those keywords. And all the while, you're going to make sure Google can crawl that content. And when they crawl it, they're going to index it. The process takes time, especially if you choose a keyword that's competitive. So just be patient. If you have quality content and you've optimized for on-page SEO and off-page SEO, then you will rank for that keyword. And then make sure your website's user-friendly and mobile-friendly. So we talked about responsive content earlier. So remember, most users today start the process of search on mobile. So we want to make sure your websites are mobile-friendly.
Search engine optimization starts with the keyword because we want to be found for relevant keywords. And so the first step in search engine optimization is always going to be keyword research. So it is the most important step. And so what is keyword research all about? Well, it's the process of identifying keywords we want to be found for on the search engines. So millions of people use search engines on a daily basis. We want to be found for those keywords that people type in that are relevant to the content we want to be found. So going back to the Italian restaurant example, if we're writing a blog post about Italian restaurants, if somebody types in the best Italian restaurants or Italian restaurants in a specific city, we want to be found for that content if it's relevant to what we wrote about. So keyword research should be done based on two factors, really. It's based on the factor of how much traffic or volume a particular search engine query has, and it's based on competition. And really, the underlying factor here is that all keywords in your keyword research should be relevant. So you need to understand what those keywords are. So are they relevant to the content that you want to be found for? If they are, then really the two factors you want to look for is the volume, how much volume or traffic each keyword has associated with it, and then the competition. How many other websites are trying to be found for the same keyword? So those are the factors involved with keyword research. You always want to choose relevant keywords, and then once you find or choose those relevant keywords, you want to be able to find out exactly how much volume and how much competition is associated with each of those keywords. And so when you look at keywords, you're always going to choose relevant keywords. But there are two types of keywords. There are short-tail keywords and there are long-tail keywords. And we're going to talk about both of these here. So let's start with short-tail keywords. So short-tail keywords are generic keywords. generally they're less than 3 words in a keyword phrase. For example, Italian restaurants. So short tail keywords generally have very high search volume. That means that if somebody types in Italian restaurants, then there's going to be a large amount of volume with that, meaning that generally a lot of people type in the keyword Italian restaurants. However, with high volume always comes high competition. So if you want to be found for Italian restaurants, know that if you are ranked number 1 or number 2 or even on page 1 of Google, you're going to get a lot of traffic. However, to get to page 1 of Google or even position 1 or 2, it's going to take you a while because there are probably a lot of websites who are in front of you who want to be ranked and found for the same keyword. So the whole idea with short tail keywords is it's a lot of visibility, it's a lot of traffic, a lot of volume, but also a lot of competition. And generally the underlying factor here is that if you are ranked for a very broad or short tail keyword like Italian restaurants, then chances are it's not going to be as relevant. So if you get the traffic to your website, then chances are the conversion's not necessarily going to happen because we don't necessarily know the mindset of somebody typing in a very short tail generic keyword like Italian restaurants. They could be doing research on Italian restaurants. They could be a chef who's trying to get recipes for Italian food. It could be a tourist looking for Italian restaurants in a different city. Or it could be a person just looking for Italian restaurants near their location or where they're living. And so there's a lot of different factors with short tail keywords. So you just don't know because it's so generic. And because it's so generic, if you do get the traffic for that generic keyword, then the chances of the conversion are going to be lower than, say, if it's a more specific relevant keyword. So let's take an example of a short tail keyword. Let's just stick with Italian restaurants. So I'm going to go to a tool called Moz. Well, Moz has a tool called the Keyword Explorer. And within Moz, so if you go to moz.com and then use their Keyword Explorer, you can get an idea of how much volume and competition are associated with a particular keyword. So in this example, we're using Italian restaurants. It's a very broad keyword. We could see that the monthly volume is between 70,000 and 118,000 per month. Okay, so that means for a particular keyword in the United States on a search engine, you're going to get about 70,000 to 118,000 people who type in that keyword. And so if we were to look at the difficulty of that keyword, you could see that it's fairly difficult because out of 1 to 100, it's got a score of 43. So it's fairly difficult. However, if you notice, the click-through rate's very high. So Moz estimates that we'll have a 40% organic click-through rate for that keyword if we're ranked for it. So if it's relevant to us and we want to get some visibility to our site, then yeah, we want to use that generic short tail keyword. However, if we're interested in conversions, then we really want to turn our attention to longer tail keywords. However, if you want the visibility, then you want to use short tail keywords. If you want the conversion, then you want to switch over to longer tail keywords. So longer tail keywords are more specific. They usually consist of more than 3 keywords. So Italian restaurants, very generic. If we add a few more keywords to that keyword phrase, it then becomes longer tail. So compared to short tail keywords, longer tail keywords are generally less competitive and the search volume is not as high. Case in point, so if we go back to Moz and then we look at the Keyword Explorer and we'd actually type in Italian restaurants and let's just say Orlando, Florida. Moz is going to generate some monthly volume for us and they're going to allow us to understand how difficult that keyword is. And so here you could see very, very little search volume. In fact, so little volume, there's 11 to 50. Okay, so that means on average that this keyword generates 11 to 50 queries a month. So very low compared to our short tail keyword, Italian restaurants. The difficulty here didn't necessarily lessen, but it is less competitive. So if you're interested in conversions and you have an Italian restaurant in, say, Orlando, Florida, then this is the keyword you may want to use. So there's a trade-off between longer tail and shorter tail. But when visitors land from longer tail keywords, they're usually ready to make a purchase. They're usually more specific intent there's more intent involved with a longer tail keyword. So best restaurants in Florida, branded shoes in Florida, something very specific is going to generate probably a higher conversion rate than something more generic. So that's the trade-off. And so when to use long tail keywords? Well, we want to use long tail keywords if we're targeting pages with a product or specific article. So if we're interested in that particular conversion, then longer tail keywords are likely more the way we want to go versus something more generic, which means if you're using a generic shorter tail keyword, you're more interested in the visibility and the traffic, not necessarily the conversion. How does a search engine work? So let's talk about that for a minute. So we know that millions of people use search engines. We know that we want to be found on search engines, but how do we actually get our content in the search engines? So that's the important part that we need to understand if we have our own website and we have our content. So these search engines want your content in their search engine index. So how do they get your content? Well, they send out bots or files, and we'll just call them spiders. So they send out these spiders to crawl your website. And the whole idea behind using the insect spider is because we're talking about the World Wide Web. And so if Google, for example, sends a bot to your website, they're going to crawl your website and spider your website. They're creating a web of pages. So all they're doing is following link. And every page and link that they hit, they're going to bring back to their server. So these spiders scan your websites, they just follow links, and they take all the pages and content that they're able to gather when they hit your website, and they're going to pull all that information back into their own index. So if you think about Google, they're crawling or spidering millions and billions of websites. All those millions and billions of websites are sitting on Google servers. So when somebody does do a search query, Google, because they have all these websites in their index, are able to quickly determine which website is the most relevant for that search engine query. So that's generally how search engines work. So let's talk about the types of SEO. So if we want our website to be found on these search engines, and Google or these search engines have crawled our website, then what we want to do is we want to basically look at it from a two-pronged perspective. It's a two-pronged strategy. So the first strategy we're going to talk about today is on-page SEO. So those are on-page SEO is defined as what we do on our website to be relevant for search engine query on a search engine. So again, on-page SEO is what we do to our own website. Off-page SEO is the second part of that SEO strategy. And off-page SEO determines what we do off our website to be relevant for search engine query. And so off-page SEO generally is synonymous with link building. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go forward. But really, when you want to do SEO, when you want to be found for a keyword on a search engine, you're going to have to apply both on-page SEO and off-page SEO. So let's talk about on-page SEO. And so this is the first part of our SEO effort. We want to focus on-page SEO first. And so on-page SEO is the method of optimizing elements of web pages. Remember, these are all the items we want to do on our website to be relevant for certain search queries. So it's basically, the idea behind this is to make our web pages more relevant for specific search queries on search engines. And so there are a number of different elements on our website, on a particular web page, that we want to manipulate or optimize, if you will, to be relevant for a search engine query. And so let's start around the idea that there's a number of things you can do. So let's start with schema first. And so schema is nothing more than, it's a collaborative effort between Bing, Yahoo, Baidu, Google. And the idea is really, they want to understand more about the content of your website. And so the idea behind this is that you want to be able to provide snippets of information to these search engines so they understand a little bit more about what your web page is trying to portray or convey, so that they can find out exactly what's relevant to that search engine query. So it's nothing more than microdata or bits of information that you can add to your website or web page in order to provide a little bit more enhanced information to the search engines. So if you think about it, it's collaborating with the search engine. So the more basic information you share with the search engines, the better off they have to understand what your web page or website is all about. And so the more information they have, the better of an opportunity you have to be ranked for that search engine query. And so if you have a website with reviews, if you have a website with images, if you have, let's say, a website with products with prices, in other words, you have an e-commerce website and you're trying to sell products. Well, to me, you want to employ schema because, again, schema is snippets of information that are provided to the search engine so they can better understand. So you can certainly provide snippets of information in the terms of images or prices or particular products and how much is left in stock. So all this information, these bits of information, you can provide to the search engine so that they can better understand what it is you're trying to sell, how much it costs, how much is in inventory, what people think about the product, etc. So if you have a website that sells products, you probably want to employ schema. And so when you do employ schema, again, snippets of information provided to the search engines. The search engines are going to better understand, and then they're going to present that information in the search engine results. So if you have ratings and reviews, you can provide snippets of information to the search engines. The search engines, in turn, are going to present that information in the search engine results. So if you have positive reviews, then somebody typing in this example, shoes, they're going to be able to see that you have positive reviews for your website. So that's the whole idea behind schema, is to provide snippets of information. So again, it's not just related to reviews, also for images. So if you have images, you can provide snippets of information to the search engine so they can see, what the shoe actually looks like when they type in this example, Puma shoes. Or like I mentioned, inventory. Snippets of information about your inventory. The search engines are going to provide that information in search engine results. So if somebody's looking for women's training shoes or women's Puma shoes and they see your product and they see, oh, this is in stock, great, let me go to this website and purchase these shoes. So that's the whole idea behind schema, is making sure you present information critical to your website so that the search engines better understand what your website's all about. It also helps with relevancy, because the more those search engines know about your website, the more relevant your website becomes and the better chance you have to rank for a particular keyword. There's also some other information here involved with schema, and those are site links. So site links, additional pages on your website, okay, that show up in the search engine result. And so again, the more information a search engine has about you, the better chance you have to be found, the better chance you have to get a click. So site links are just additional links on your site that appear in search engine results. And that's all a benefactor of having schema. So here you can see in this example, we have additional web pages that show under a certain search engine result. And so by having more links in the search engine results, you have a better chance of getting the click. So if you want more information about schema, I would recommend going to schema.org. So when you go to schema.org, you can actually click on a link that allows you to see all the information you need to get started with schema.org. Okay, so it's got a lot of information available to you. It describes what it is you have to do in order to get your information and set for the search engines to better understand. Focus on for on-page SEO is title tag. And so title tag is what shows up in the search engine results. So if you've ever done a search engine query, meaning you've gone to Google, typed in a query using a keyword like Italian restaurants, you're going to see specific search engine results. And the title tag is what appears in those search engine results. So a title tag is important because it's the title of a web page that appears in those results. And so the title tag is something that's important because if we want to be found for a specific keyword, we want to make sure that keyword is in the title tag, because that keyword is going to describe what the page is all about. And so if we want to be found for that keyword, let's just say Italian restaurants in Florida, for example, that's going to be part of our title tag. So when somebody types in that particular keyword query, Italian restaurants in Florida, then we have a good chance of showing up because the title tag, which is the title of the page, is going to have that particular query in it. And so you can edit the title tag. And when you edit the title tag, you want to be able to put that particular keyword in the title tag. So if we do a search on Google, for example, so if I go to google.com and I type in Italian restaurants in Florida, here I can see under the local search results, and here I can see Italian restaurants in Florida, Central Florida, Italian restaurants in Miami. So you can see that these are highlighted. So the title tag is not only stands out, but allows you to showcase exactly what your page is all about, and it helps with the relevancy of that keyword query. So when you're trying to optimize your website using the title tag for a specific keyword, you want to keep in mind a couple parameters because title tags show up in the search engine results, but certain search engines, particularly Google, has character limits around the number of characters you can use in the title tag. And so we want to keep that in mind. So ideally, we want to format our title tag appropriately. And so to me, the most optimal way to optimize a title tag using a particular keyword that you want to be found for is to use that keyword in the title tag and then separate that with your brand name. So if you actually have two keywords, then you can use the primary keyword first, then the secondary keyword, and then the brand name. So to me, this is the most optimal format, but keep in mind there are character limits. But if you look at this format, to me, it's the most easiest format to abide by because it makes your title tag more relevant. You don't have to worry about necessarily fitting in excess keywords in the title tag because, again, the title tag has character limits. So if we take a look at our example in Google search results, if you go over those limits, and the title tag is generally between 60 and 65 characters long. And so if you go over those limits, let's just say your title tag is more than 65 characters, Google, in this case, is going to cut off the characters. And so here you can see the ellipses after the title tag. Now, if you follow the format that we at Simply Learn recommend, you could see if our keyword is Italian restaurants in Florida, and then separated by the brand name, this gives you an optimal format for the title tag. It also makes it relevant for the keyword query. So you want to keep that title tag probably no more than 60 characters because if you flirt with putting more than 60 characters, then the search engines are going to cut off that title tag. And then that's not going to look good, and it's going to also become less relevant. So we want to keep the character counts in mind. So if you abide by that format of the keyword, and then maybe the secondary keyword if you have one, separated by the brand name, then you should be good to go with making sure your title tag is relevant for that keyword query. So let's then turn our attention to the meta description. So the meta description is just a short description about the content on your web page. So if the title tag is the title of the web page, the meta description describes the page. Okay, so it's a description about what that page is. So the meta description appears under the title tag and then the URL. So if we go back to our Google search results, we look here, Italian restaurants in Florida, Maggiano's Little Italy is the brand or the restaurant. We could see the URL, which is underneath the title tag. And then here we could see the meta description. And so with the meta description, you have a little bit more room to work with in terms of character count. But the meta description, just like the title tag, is just as important because 1, it shows up in the search engine results. 2, it describes what the page is all about. And 3, it allows you to optimize the meta description so the meta description becomes more relevant for that search query that somebody types into that particular search engine. So the optimal length for a meta description. You can go up to 300 characters, but I would not even recommend even flirting with that limit, because just like the title tag, search engines, in the case of Google, will actually cut off the meta description. So if we look here back at our search results, if you go over those limits, you'll see that the search engines will cut off the copy of the meta description and they'll just put ellipses. So we don't necessarily want to go over those limits. So my recommendation is to keep that meta description probably 165 characters to no more than 200. Because we're trying to describe not only what the page is all about, but we're also trying to optimize that meta description so it becomes relevant for the search engine query. And so you want to keep it short and concise. So if we look at our example here, Italian restaurants in Florida, Maggiano's does a good job. It said, book an event space, make a reservation at Maggiano's in Florida to enjoy delicious, view maps, menus, and more. So very concise meta description. It includes their keyword query that they want to be found for, Italian restaurants in Florida. And so to me, it's short and concise, describes what the page is all about, and allows them to fit it all in within the character limits. So here in this example, we want to be found for Amazon Puma shoes. So the brand here is Amazon. So Amazon wants to include, Puma shoes, not only in the title tag, but they want to try and fit that into the meta description. However, the whole idea behind the meta description, more than anything else, is describe what the page is all about. Okay, you want to be relevant for the search engine query, but you also want to sound natural as well. You want to be able to really, the whole idea between the title tag and a meta description is to get people to click on your link. Because remember, there are 9 other listings on the Google search engine results page for page 1. So we want our meta description and our title tag to stand out. So we want it to be relevant, but we want it to stand out. So it's important you write that meta description according to what the page is all about, but you want it to stand out uniquely and accordingly. So once you've done the title tag and the meta description, you want to focus your attention on the header tag. And so header tags are used on a web page to really separate out content. And so you have headers and subheaders. And so ideally, you want to be able to optimize the header tag and the subheader. And so if we think about headers, there's a hierarchy for headers. So there's between a header 1 and a header 6. And so we'll just shorten the word header and we'll call it an H1. So H1 is really at the top of the hierarchy for headers. And so if we use a H1 on our web page, then what we're trying to explain to the search engines is, listen, this particular keyword phrase in our header is a header, and we're trying to emphasize what it is we're trying to say. And that's how really the search engines interpret headers. They see an H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. They know that if you're using an H1, you're trying to really emphasize something. So if you put that keyword in the header tag, what you're telling the search engines is, hey, I'm really emphasizing this particular keyword. And so the search engine will interpret that as important. And if you use your keyword in that header, then really what you're saying is, hey, this keyword is really relevant to that query. So naturally, the other benefit of a header is it really breaks up the page as well. So the header, you can use subheaders, and subheaders are nothing more than, say, a lower H tag. So if you have a header that's an H1, you can use an H2 or an H3 as a subheader, and so forth and so on, because what you're really trying to do is not only organize the content in your web page, but you're trying to emphasize that for Google. So if something's an H2 or an H6, you're basically telling Google or the other search engines, this is not as important as, say, an H1. So if we take a look at our example that we've been using for Italian restaurants in Florida, and if we click on Maggiano's, we could see that they're using headers. So if we click on Maggiano's, we could see that this is a header here. We want to bring everyone together at Maggiano's Italian restaurant in Florida. So they're using that header to break up the text. Here you can see they're using another header here, excellent Italian food and an excellent experience to match. So that's a header to break up the content. Okay, they're not using subheaders. They're just using headers, but that's fine. They're really trying to emphasize the content by putting in that header. And so headers help not only organize the content, but they help emphasize the actual keyword it is you want Google to recognize. So if we're not sure if something is a header, we could simply just mouse over what we think is a header, and we can just right click. And if you right click on something, you're going to see a menu. And if we click inspect element, then basically what that browser, in this case Firefox, is going to do is show us the HTML of that particular thing, of that item that we right clicked. So here we could see, in this particular case, this is an H2 tag. So it's an H2. So if we scroll down and we mouse over this, we could see this is also an H2 as well. So this particular page is using H2 tags, not H1, but an H2. So what they're explaining or trying to convey to the search engines is, listen, this is an H2. It's still relevant. We're still trying to put emphasis on it, but not as much. So we want to be able to use our H1s and our H2s accordingly. So remember, an H1 is you're providing the search engines with information by telling them, hey, this is the most relevant. We're putting emphasis on this keyword. An H2, not as much as an H1, and an H3, not as much as an H2. So use your headers accordingly. Not only just to break up the text, not only for styling, but for emphasis for the search engines. So headers are very important elements for on-page SEO. Okay, let's turn our attention to the URL structure. Okay, so URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. And so our URL is the specific location of a web page on the internet. So basically, if we're found in the search engine results, one of our web pages are going to go along with the title tag and the meta description in the search engine results page. So if I go back to our search engine results for Italian restaurants in Florida, we could see that the particular URL in question here is locations.maggianos.com/Florida. So that's the URL that shows up along with the title tag and the meta description. So if we click on that link, that's exactly where we're going to go. So URL structure is important for on-page SEO. So why is it important? Because not only does it show people where they're going, but we have an opportunity to optimize that URL for the search engines to make our URL more relevant for that search query. So just like the title tag, just like the meta description, just like the headers, we can also manipulate the URL. So if we look at a URL, it consists of really the protocol. And the protocol means it's either a secure site or a non-secure site. So in this example, we could see it's HTTPS, and that means it's a secure site. And so ideally, search engines like web pages or websites that are secure. So after the protocol, you're going to see the domain, and then after the domain, you're going to see subdirectories. Okay, so that's generally the breakout with URL structures. You have the protocol, the domain, and subdirectories, and then you may have more subdirectories. So if we go back to the example we've been working with, if I go back to Maggiano's, you could see here, this is a secure site, HTTPS. You could see the domain. In this case, it's actually a subdomain. So Maggianos.com is the domain, but they decided to put locations.maggianos.com. And that's okay. We call that a subdomain. And then here you could see they have one particular subdirectory after the domain, and that's Florida. So a well-structured URL not only provides the users with information about where they're going when they click on your link in the search engine results, but more importantly, it also provides the search engines and some information about what the web page is all about. So going back to our simple example with Maggiano's, the search engines know that, hey, if somebody clicks on this link, they're going to a page about Florida. Pretty simple. The URL structure is pretty simple to understand. We know it's a secure site, we know it's Maggianos.com, and we know the subpage is Florida, or the subdirectory is Florida. You want to be careful, like everything else in SEO, there are parameters. Just like the title tag has parameters up to 65 characters, the meta description tag has a limit of up to 165 characters. A well-structured URL also has character counts. But the idea here is we don't want to get into numbers when we talk about character counts for URL structure. Really, the rule of thumb or the best practice for URL is to keep it short, and understandable. Okay, if we keep it clear and concise, not only does the end user know where they're going, but the search engines know what the page is all about. So the rule of thumb is always, if you don't understand the URL or what it means, then the search engines are likely not going to understand what the URL means. We want to keep the number of directories and subdirectories to a limit. So ideally here, you could see in this example, xyz.com, if we want to optimize that URL, we could put the targeted keyword in the URL if we'd like to, but we want to keep it probably to a minimum of 1 to 2 subdirectories. The shorter the amount of subdirectories, the better off we are, because that means that not only the end user will understand the URL, but the search engines will understand the URL as well. So we always want to make sure that URL is readable, again, for the end user and the search engine. And so in this example, you could see amazon.com/mens-shoes/sneakers/Puma. Very easy to understand. As an end user, I know that I'm going to a Puma page for men on amazon.com. Now, when you get into URLs with dynamic parameters in them, then ideally, you as an end user is not going to really know where you're going to go. So in the example here, the middle example, I can see that I'm going maybe to a shoes page, but I have no idea what the rest of that URL means. And in the other example, where you have a very low URL readability, I have no idea as an end user where I'm going to go. So as an end user, I need to be able to have confidence in knowing where I'm going to go once I click on a link in the search engine results. So if I don't have that confidence, if I don't understand what the URL is, then the search engines aren't going to understand as well. And it's not going to bode well in terms of relevancy. And again, the URL structure is an important factor for being relevant. And if we're not relevant, then the chances of us ranking higher is not going to be as good because our URL is not readable. So ideally what we want to do is make sure we're using keywords that the end user and the search engines understand. And if we need to separate out those keywords, in the first example we could see men's shoes, we want to separate that out with a hyphen. And so ideally, if you have a URL that's readable and it's short and concise, then again, your chances of ranking higher on the search engine results page bodes better than if you have a very long, antiquated, unreadable URL. So let's focus our attention on image alt text, or alt tags, if you will. So alt tags, or text tags, as they're also known as, allow the search engine to understand a little bit more about what's on the page in terms of images. So images are a prominent part of every web page on the internet. Unfortunately, images are usually files that are not readable by search engines. So we want to be able to provide some alternate text so that the search engines understand what those images are all about. So again, it gives us an opportunity to communicate with the search engines so that they better understand what the image is all about to make the page more relevant. So generally, if an image fails to load on a web page, as an example, well, if you have an alt tag, then the alt tag is going to show in place of the image not loading. More importantly, if we have an alt tag and the search engines have spidered our website and somebody's actually searching for images, then the alt tag is used as a descriptor for the image. So it also helps us get found for the images on search engine results pages. And so, like everything else we've talked about with on-page SEO, there are character limits to alt tags. Generally the rule of thumb is 125 characters for an alt tag. And the alt tag is used in the HTML, so we want to surround our image with an alt tag by putting in a descriptor. And so ideally, if you're trying to be found for a particular search engine query, then you want to use the search engine query as part of the alt tag. And so let me show you an example here, going back to Maggiano's. If we look at their web page and we actually inspect one of their images on this web page, if we look at, for example, Pinterest or Facebook, we can actually see in this example that the image here has an alt tag. It's Pinterest. And so you want to be able, again, to put in alt tags for all your images so it better communicates with the search engines what the image is all about. It also allows the search engines to rank images in the search engine results based on that alt text and what the keyword query was. So alt tags play an important role because, again, if the image doesn't load on the web page for some reason, then the alt tag is there as a replacement. It's also there to help the search engines rank those images and understand the page a little bit better. So you always want to be able to put in the keyword query that you're trying to be found for in the alt tag. And so be as descriptive as possible. You have 125 characters to use, so be as descriptive, make it easy to read, because again, this is what's going to show up in the search engine results pages for images. Okay, let's turn our attention to internal links. So when it comes to SEO, internal links also play a vital role because basically an internal link, which is a link from one page of your website to another page of your website, allows Google to, or other search engines really, to follow the pages as they index your entire website. So it serves that purpose of allowing search engines to index. So it definitely improves the indexing. But internal linking also has many benefits. And one of the other benefits is it helps spread what we call link juice. And so link juice is basically another way of saying, this page is important because it has links from other pages on our website. So if we have a link from one page to another and a couple of other pages on our site link to that same page, then search engines tend to take notice. And they tend to note that if one particular page has a number of different links pointing to it, then this page may be important. And so that's what we mean by link juice. It's a signal for the search engine to determine what pages on your website are important because of the links that point to it. And so if we look at this example here, we could see that there's usually a navigation on a website that point to pages. And every page on a website tends to have a link, but if more than one page has multiple links, then again, that signals to the search engines that, hey, this particular page seems to be important because it has a lot of links pointing to it. Our attention to sitemaps. So sitemaps basically allow us to list all the web pages on our website. So we could do that in a couple of different ways, but when we do it, it basically is going to help the search engines find our pages easier. Just as I mentioned a minute ago about internal linking, when you have one link pointing to another page on your website, it helps the search engines find these pages quicker. Well, sitemaps do the same thing, except sitemaps are an entire list of links on your website, and it allows the search engines to find all your pages on your website fairly easily. But it also helps the end user too. So if you have a big website, like Amazon has a huge website with a lot of different products. Well, if you're looking for a particular product, you can do a search for it, or you can look at the sitemap, and the sitemap will list all the particular pages on the site. And so it's also good for the end user as well. So when we talk about the end user and we talk about search engines, there are really two different types of sitemaps. You got the HTML version, which is for the end user. That's going to be nothing more than a link on the website, usually in the footer. And so when you click on that sitemap link, you'll get a list of all the links on the website. Okay, so that's an HTML sitemap. Then we have the sitemap for the search engines, the spiders that want to crawl our site. So that's the XML sitemap, and an XML is just a different format. It's just a way to format all the links on our website. So the HTML sitemap is HTML written in hypertext markup language, designed for the end user. If you click on it, it helps the end user navigate the website quickly because they can find what they're looking for. And so generally, that is an HTML. Now, if we turn our attention to the XML sitemap, that's basically designed for search engines.
And the thing about the search, the XML sitemap is we work with Google to go ahead and submit the sitemap to Google so Google can quickly understand what pages on our website. So for example, if I went to a website, let's just say valleyfig.com. So if I went here and if I'm a search engine, I'm going to want to know all the URLs that are on this website. Well, as an end user, I can also just type in sitemap.xml. Usually that's the XML file where all the URLs are located. And here I can see all of the URLs on valleyfig.com. And so the idea behind an XML sitemap is we want to communicate that XML file to the search engines. And so Google in particular has what they call a search console. And search console, if you go to google.com/webmasters, so search console is a way to communicate with Google. And one of the ways to communicate with Google is to submit a sitemap. So we want to submit our XML sitemap. So if our XML sitemap is located in the root directory, so after our domain, valleyfig.com/sitemap.xml, we know that that file is sitting in the root directory. I can go into Search Console and I can submit my sitemap. And when I submit my sitemap, then I'm basically communicating with Google, telling Google, hey, Google, instead of trying to find all our web pages on our website, when you crawl the website, we're going to go ahead and submit the sitemap to you. So we're going to tell you all the pages on our website. And so by doing that, by submitting our sitemap.xml file to Google, it speeds up the process because Google's able to now understand all the pages on our website that have been submitted. And then once we submit those pages, then Google's going to quickly index a majority of those pages, if not all of those pages. And so that's the benefit of having an XML sitemap for the search engines, is that we can quickly submit that file to the search engine so our pages get submitted and indexed quicker. So continuing on with on-page SEO, we now turn our attention to page speed. And so page speed, also known as page load time of a particular page of a particular website, is important for SEO. Why is it important? Because Google has millions of users use their search engine, and Google wants their users to have a good experience. And so if Google ranks websites based on relevancy, they also want to take into account page speed, because if a website does not load fast or a web page doesn't load fast, then it would be detrimental for Google to rank that page high. Because what's going to happen is that page is going to get a number of clicks, and then the user experience is not going to be that great. And so therefore, it's going to have a negative impact, not only in the end user, but Google as well. And so page load time then becomes important for on-page SEO. So really, when it comes to page load time, we really want to pay attention to how long it takes our web pages to load in terms of seconds. Because if a page loads slow, then chances are the user experience is not going to be good, even from an analytics perspective. Meaning, if I go to Google, type in a query, click on a link, and then that link takes me to a website where the web page loads very slow, chances are I'm not going to spend a lot of time waiting for that page to load. I'm going to leave that page. And if I leave the page, then it's going to cause what they call a bounce. So I'm going to bounce from the page. And that's just not good for the entire search ecosystem. And so we want to pay close attention to page load time, because the faster a site or page loads, Google's going to recognize that, and that's going to help with ranking. And so how do we understand how our pages load? Well, we can look no further than web analytics tool like Google Analytics, for example. So if we turn our attention to Google Analytics, if I go to, say, valleyfig.com's analytics account, I can look over the last 30 days and I can see, okay, on average, our average page load time for the entire site was 5 seconds, around 5 seconds. And ideally, we want our pages load as quick as possible. I would say the rule of thumb on page load time is probably no more than 3 to 4 seconds. Okay, but there are factors involved with page load time. So a couple of factors are the browser that people use. So some browsers load pages differently than other browsers. The other factor involved with browsers is the device.
So you could be on a mobile device and say Internet Explorer versus on a desktop using Chrome. And you're going to have variation in terms of average page load time. So definitely browser device plays a role, but also country plays a role. The infrastructure, how much bandwidth is available. So you could be in, say, San Francisco, United States, and be on a high-speed network versus another city or another country where you're not necessarily on the same high-speed network. You're on a lower bandwidth or lower network, and that's going to affect the page load time as well. So in analytics, you can actually see the breakdown of time per country. And then, of course, the page itself. So when we talk about average page load time for a website, we're talking about the average for the entire site. But we can actually look at, in Google Analytics, the average load time for every page on the site. So ideally, if you have a particular page you want to rank organically in the search engines and the average page load time is not suitable or it's very high, then you want to address what the issues are. And so the great thing about Google Analytics is you actually have speed suggestions. So if I go to speed suggestions in Google Analytics, I'm going to be able to see the average load time for certain pages on the site. And then what Google's going to do is actually give me some feedback. So for example, I can see that the home page loads about 5.59 seconds. And so if I click on page speed suggestions, then Google is going to give me suggestions on how to speed up the page load time, not only on desktop, but on mobile as well. So when you click on page speed suggestions, you're actually going to go to a tool, a Google tool called Page Speed Insights. And then Page Speed Insights is going to allow you to see how quick your page loads. And then it's going to be able to give you feedback on what to do in order to speed up the page load time, not only for the page, but for the site. And the great thing, again, is you can see it for desktop and you can see it for mobile. So page speed is important. We want to be able to keep our page load time low, no more than probably, again, 3 to 4 seconds. Because if it's any more than that, Google's going to take notice, the other search engines are going to take notice, and they're not going to want to rank that particular page high on Google. So some ways to increase your page speed: you always want to optimize your images. You never want to have images that take a long time to load. You want to use a simple website design. Now, I know Flash, as an example, has long been disbanded, but you don't want to use other technology that's really going to slow the page load time. Of course, where your website is hosted does matter. So the server it's hosted on could be shared with other websites. And so that may eat into how quick the server responds to people trying to load your web page. And so you want to keep that in mind. So server response time does play a factor in loading. And then, of course, optimizing your code. You want to never have unnecessary code on your website. And when I say unnecessary code, some examples could be tracking code. If you're doing any search advertising, let's just say on Facebook or Bing, you try to want to minimize the amount of extra code you put on a site because that code has to execute and that eats into the page load time. So you want to be cognizant of how much code you put on your website because that will eat into the page load time. So let's talk about featured snippets. So featured snippets is the search result that generally shows up at the top of the search engine organic results. So it's informational content and you'll see it above organic results, but you'll also see it below search advertising. And so some of the common featured snippets you may see are in the form of a paragraph, a table, or a list. And so paragraph snippets tend to be the most popular. And let me show you an example of a featured snippet. So if I go to, say, google.com and type in machine learning, here you can see some paid search ads. Okay, and why do I know they're paid search ads? Because I can see ad next to them. But if I look below the paid search ads, but above the organic search results, I see a paragraph featured snippet. And this is nothing more than, again, just an informational content about machine learning. And really, the whole idea behind featured snippets is really they're just informational. And really, it's informational. And what Google likes to do is pull content in there that really answers a question. So if your content doesn't necessarily answer a question, then you can't expect your content to show up as a featured snippet. So the whole idea is with the search engines is really Google searches through a number of different sites to find content that will best answer a user's question. Like, for example, what is machine learning? Okay, so if we ask the question, what is machine learning? We can expect to find a featured snippet. And so really what users do a lot when they type in a query, they use prefixes like how does or how do or how to or what is. And so those types of questions are normally asked as part of the search query. So if you could answer those questions, then generally Google's going to recognize that. And if it's relevant, it's going to show up as a featured snippet. So the whole idea is to really create truly high quality content. So about featured snippets is if you have true high quality content that answers a question, then chances are your content may show up as a featured snippet. So the whole idea is, work to create high quality content that provides a really good answer to a really basic question. It could be anything. What is machine learning? What is a fig? How to ride a bicycle? How do I surf? All these are related questions that content can answer. And Google wants to make sure, as part of a featured snippet, that they provide content that answers that question. And not just content, the best content that does the best job with the most relevant information answer that person's search query. So here we could see our 3 examples. You have a table format. So if we want to type in aviation jobs, we can see snippets of information about the latest job listings for aviation. You can see in the middle screenshot, what is machine learning? So that's our paragraph featured snippet. And then if you type in something like building a fence, it's going to give you a list of, ways to go about building a fence. So these are all answers to questions. The query may not necessarily be in question form, but the snippet is there just in case you want to know more information about that particular query. So generally that's how featured snippets work. And the great thing about featured snippets, it's open to everybody. The key is to have quality content. If you have quality content that provides answers to questions, then chances are your content can show up above organic search results, which will give you more visibility, drive a lot more traffic to your site, and quality traffic, because likely it's answering somebody's question. So let's do a recap of everything we talked about with on-page SEO. So before we move on to off-page, remember, on-page SEO is what we do to our website to enhance our website to be found in the search engines for relevant keywords. So it's all about relevancy. And remember, before you do anything to your website, you need to start with the basics of keyword research. You need to find keywords that are highly relevant, that have volume, and low competition. And so when you can focus on your keywords and you find out and finalize what keywords you want to be found for, then you're going to conduct on-page SEO. On-page SEO consists of a number of different factors, some of which we talked about today, starting with schema. Remember, we want to have structured data to better communicate with the search engines what our web pages are about. Then we talked about title tags. So title tags appear in search results. Remember, 65 characters. We want to make sure our keyword is in the title tag followed by our brand name. And then we talked about meta descriptions. Meta descriptions allow us to, talk specifically about what that page is all about. Meta descriptions fall under the title tag in the search results. We talked about headers, H1 through H6, H1 being the biggest in the hierarchy of headers, and having an H1 tag with your keyword provides the search engines with an identity of how strong or how important something is on a page. It also organizes the page with headers and subheaders, and it breaks up the content so it's easily understandable by the end user. We also talked about alt tags. So remember, images on its own
are not recognized by search engines. So we want to surround those images with alt tags, with words that help the search engines identify what that image is. They also serve a purpose in the browser. If an image doesn't load, then we can actually see what the image is all about with the alt tag. We talked about featured snippets. There are lists. Okay, there are paragraphs. Okay, there are different types of snippets. And really the whole idea again behind snippets is answering a question with quality content. We talked about page speed, identifying how quick our pages load in Google Analytics. So if your pages don't load very quickly, then Google actually provides suggestions to speed up the page load time of a particular page. And some of the culprits that you want to look at are making sure you have images that are of good quality, but also not a lot in size. You want to make sure they're optimized. You want to look at your server response time. You want to make sure you optimize code. So there's a lot of different factors with page load time. You just want to keep an eye on what pages are not loading quick enough. And remember, we want to keep it as low as possible, but no more than 3 to 4 seconds. We talked about internal linking. Internal linking to a particular page from one page to another provides link juice. And link juice is nothing more than an indicator for the search engines to identify what pages tend to be more important than another based on the number of links pointing to that page. And then we also talked about sitemaps. So we talked about the two types of sitemaps, HTML and XML. HTML is for the end user. XML is primarily for the search engines. XML generally is going to be a file called sitemap.xml, and we could take that XML file and submit it to Google's Search Console. And so that expedites the process of indexing your site and helps your site not only get indexed faster, but will help Google understand how many pages are on your site and then get those pages indexed so that they can be found so that you can generate traffic. So all of these are factors with on-page SEO that you want to address before you move on to off-page SEO. Okay, let's turn our attention to off-page SEO. Now that we covered all the essentials for on-page, we still need to focus our attention on off-page. Remember earlier I mentioned that SEO is a two-pronged approach. We have to focus on-page SEO first, and then to complement our efforts and to continue our efforts and to continue the effort of being relevant for certain keywords, we need to do what we call off-page SEO. And those are actions we take that don't involve our website directly. Meaning we've already updated the title tag, the meta description, the alt tags, the headers, etc. We want to do things off our website that's going to allow Google and other search engines to recognize that, hey, we are relevant. These pages are relevant for certain keywords on our website. And so really when we talk about off-page SEO, it's really the technique of promoting your website using link building. And when we say technique of promoting our website using link building, that means establishing links on other websites. That's what we mean by link building. And so establishing links on other websites really enhances our SEO efforts because it improves, first and foremost, it improves the credibility of our website. So if we're on a very popular website that is known to be reputable, then having a link pointing from that website to ours just improves the credibility of our own website. Not necessarily in the minds of the search engine, but in the minds of the end user. The other benefit here is it increases our domain authority. And let's take a minute to talk about domain authority. So domain authority is simply just a score between 1 and 100. And so in digital marketing, even including SEO as a marketing channel, everything's measurable. And we want to be able to measure everything we do digitally. And so off-page SEO is measurable. One of the metrics involved with off-page SEO is domain authority. In other words, it's a score between 1 and 100 for our domain. So how does Google, how does Baidu, how do these other search engines see our domain? How authoritative is our domain? How reputable is our domain? And so having links on other websites pointing to our domain increases our reputability, increases our authority.
And so I'm going to show you an example. So if you remember back on-page SEO, when we were talking about keyword research, we used a tool called Moz.com. And I would recommend using Moz.com to measure domain authority. So if we go to Moz.com, and Moz.com has a tool called Link Explorer. So if you put in your domain using their tool Link Explorer, you're going to be able to see your domain authority. And domain authority is a score between 1 and 100. And basically, it's simply just scoring your website in terms of authority. How does the search engine see your site out on the World Wide Web? The higher the score, the better. And so recommend using Moz.com Link Explorer to measure the domain authority. So the more links we have on external sites pointing to our own site, in theory, the higher the domain authority. So we're going to come back to Moz.com quite frequently as we talk about off-page SEO because we need a tool to help manage our efforts. So we're going to come back to Moz.com, but let's talk about some of these other benefits to off-page SEO. So we know it helps with the credibility, it increases our domain authority, but what are some of the other intangible efforts that are also measurable? Well, it increases our referral traffic. And by increasing our referral traffic, meaning if we're on a reputable site that gets a lot of traffic and there's a link pointing our site, then naturally we're probably going to see traffic coming from that site. And we can measure that in tools like Google Analytics. We can measure referral traffic. And so that's an inherent benefit to doing off-page SEO because we're trying to create the relevancy of our own website. We're trying to be found for relevant keywords, but yet at the same time, we can increase traffic to our website. And then certainly not lost in all this is improving our page rank. So the idea here is you need on-page and off-page SEO to work together to improve our rankings. And improving our rankings in the search engine results will inherently increase our rankings and drive traffic to the site from search engines. And that's ideally what we're trying to do. We're trying to accomplish traffic from search engines by improving our rankings. But at the same time, we improve our credibility and we improve our standing in the search engine world. And we also increase traffic to our site from all these other websites. And so there are a lot of benefits to off-page SEO. Let's talk a little bit more about some of these other benefits because according to a backlinko, a web page with more backlinks is going to rank higher than a page with fewer backlinks. But let me just say this. With backlinking, especially from sites, it's all about credibility. It's all about quality over quantity. So we want to pay attention to quality over quantity. So let's harken back to Moz.com. And here we could see we have a domain authority of 35, but we have a lot of links, inbound links from other websites pointing to our website. We have 575 domains out there on the internet pointing to our domain, valleyfig.com. And so if we want to take a specific look at these domains, we can just simply click on linking domains. And here we could see all the different domains pointing to our website. Now, again, it's about quality, not quantity. So if we look at the domain authority, and that's a score that measures the credibility of a website, we could see the domain authority on some of these domains, like npr.org has a domain authority of 93. And so to me, that helps boost the domain authority for our own website, our own domain. It also has the chance of driving that traffic. It also increases the credibility. But in the end, having quality links from other quality domains is going to increase our own rank on search engines. And that's the whole idea behind it. So we could actually see that we have quality websites and quality domains linking to our domain. Now, you can also use another tool. I mentioned this earlier with on-page SEO when I was talking about sitemaps. So if you go to Search Console, so that's a Google tool, we can also look at a link report and see what other websites are linking to us. So this is Google's way of communicating to us what websites are out there linking to us. And so here I can see the top linking sites to our website, valleyfig.com, is The Crumby Kitchen has 1,443 links pointing back to our site. cookscountry.com, Whole Foods Magazine, My Imperfect Kitchen. These are all sites with links pointing back to our site. So Search Console is a good tool. It's a good alternative tool, especially the links report. It's a good alternative tool to get an idea of the types of sites that are linking to your site. Now, what you're missing here in Search Console is the domain authority, but you can use the Link Explorer tool in Moz.com to measure the domain authority for any domain. It's just a matter of going to the tool itself, by going to Moz.com, by going to the Link Explorer report, and just typing in the domain, and from there you'll be able to see the domain authority. So it's all about quality over quantity. I can't stress that enough. So when it comes to off-page, really, it's synonymous with link building. So it's the most effective method for off-page SEO. And it's simply just getting links from other websites to your own. So it's not as easy as it sounds, especially when we're talking about quality over quantity. But building these links to our website will help our rankings. And that's the whole idea behind off-page SEO. We want to be able to link from other websites to ours so that we can help our rankings, in addition to some of the other benefits I just mentioned. So Google recognizes backlinks as one of their top ranking factors. So in addition to some of the on-page SEO tactics that I mentioned earlier, including title tag and meta description and URL structure and headers, all those are important. But at the same time, it's a balance. So Google wants to know, hey, yes, we understand you've optimized your title tag for a keyword, but how does the rest of the internet see your website? Is your website worthy enough to add a link from a particular quality website to your website? So if there are a number of quality links, then your site must be of quality as well. And so that's the whole idea behind link building being an important factor. Because again, it's about, from a Google's perspective, it's about the user experience. They want to make sure that sites ranked on page 1 of Google are quality sites. Quality sites that load well, that have good content, that have fresh content. Not just sites that have a gazillion links pointing to them with, keywords stuffed into the title tag. So it's an ecosystem. Google's and other search engines want to protect that ecosystem with quality. So that's why link building is an important factor. And so there are different types of links. So when you have a link pointing from one website to your own, okay, the link could be a follow link or no follow link. And the whole idea behind follow or no follow is simply, hey, we know that Google and other search engines, they're spidering the entire web. The whole idea is for them to collect as many pages as these search engines can to bring them back to their servers so they can serve them up in their search engines. Well, as Google and these other search engines spider these sites, what they're doing is they're following links. That's as simple as it gets. They're following links from one link to another. So remember we talked about internal links earlier on-page SEO? Internal links are just links on your web pages pointing to other pages on your own website. Well, when it comes to external links, so links pointing from one website to your website, that website that's linking to your website has an opportunity to say, hey, Google, you can follow this link or don't follow the link. And so if they choose to not follow the link, meaning they put a no follow tag into the anchor text, then Google's going to follow the link but not recognize the link itself. And what I mean by that is, hey, if you have, let's just use Valley Fig, has a link from Wikipedia. If Wikipedia has a link pointing to valleyfig.com, but the link itself is no follow, then what Google's going to do is not recognize the link itself. They're not going to recognize the link, so therefore you're not going to get credit or link juice, as we say. You're not going to get any juice from Wikipedia to Valleyfig. But if it is a follow link, then what Google's going to do is recognize the link and give you credit for the backlink. And by giving you credit for the backlink, that's going to inherently increase your domain authority. It's also going to likely increase your rankings. So you want to pay attention to the types of link building that's out there, no follow And so anytime you try to establish a link on an external website, just make sure it's a follow. Make sure it's not a no follow, because if it's a no follow link, then you're not going to get the credit from the search engines. And so the whole idea behind link building in terms of SEO is to get some credit from a quality website to your website. And so if we look here, a follow link in this example is one where the href or the link itself doesn't have a no follow in it. But if a hyperlink does have a no follow in it, then that means you're not going to get the credit for the backlink. So remember, no follows, they don't allow search engine crawlers to follow the link. So if that's the case, it's not going to pass any link juice. When you don't pass quote unquote link juice, you're not going to get credit for the backlink. And so if you don't get credit for the backlink, then if we go back to our tools that we have available for measuring off-page SEO. So if I go back to, let's just say Moz, or even let's just say Search Console, I'll be able to see all these links here. These links that are showing up are follow links. Why? Because Google's recognizing the link. If they were no follow, then we wouldn't see the link in here. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And so just keep in mind, if it is a no follow, you'll see in the hypertext itself the no follow tag. And you can always check that the HTML of any particular link. And so when we talk about link building, we talk about off-page SEO, really we're talking about how to get links on quality websites. And how do we do that? Well, I've listed here a few ways to do that. So you could do guest blogging, or blogging in general is a good off-page SEO / link building strategy. And I'll talk about more of that in a minute. But we can list our websites in reputable and trustworthy directories. I mentioned Wikipedia as an example, even though Wikipedia may not be classified as a directory, but there are other directories out there. You could ask for testimonials. So if you're working with clients or other websites, you could ask for a testimonial, or they can provide a link pointing back from their site to your site. It's about relationships, really, is what it comes down to. It's relationship building. And that's what a link is, relationship building. Or you could do content on social media. So these are just examples of ways to generate links. But let's go back to the blogging part, because blogging to me is an essential part to off-page SEO. And why is that? Because anytime you are part of a blog, you're generating content. And not only are you generating content, you're generating fresh content that's likely to be interesting to the end user. And with that content, yes, you can optimize that content. But the beauty about blogging is really anybody can do it. But if we want to connect blogging with relationships, if we're a food blogger, then we can write on other food blogs as a guest writer. And we can have that blog post link back to our own blog, as an example. Or we can have other bloggers in the same industry write a guest blog for us on their own blog and point their link back to our site. Blogging creates a lot of opportunities for link building because, again, it's a fresh canvas with interesting content. And when you have interesting content, then the opportunity for backlinking is going to be there, because if you're writing about something that's interesting, then naturally you're going to want to link to something else related to that that's interesting. And so that's the opportunity that blogging creates. So again, it's vital to get links from authoritative web pages, then multiple links from low quality web pages. So going back to the Link Explorer report, we want to be able to pay attention to those domain authorities or those websites with low domain authority. And really you should pay attention to really quality sites. Okay, you want to pay attention to quality sites. And so when we talk about links, there's inbound links, there's outbound links. We're interested in those inbound links. We're interested in getting links from high quality websites pointing to our own website. And again, that could be in the form of a blog. It could be social media. It could be a partner site. Okay, these are all inbound links. They just need to be followed. Make sure they're not a no follow. So it's simple, just getting an external link that's a follow to your own website. And so the one thing I want to mention here, though, on inbound links from external websites, and that's making sure that not necessarily every inbound link points to the home page. We want to be able to have links point to internal pages. So let's harken back to Search Console as an example. So Search Console, our links report, shows us links pointing from external websites to our own website. But what are those link pages? So if we look at some of those link pages here, we can see the top link pages. We can see on valleyfig.com/recipes is the top link page. Then the home page, then the About Us, then /international. So we want to make sure that if we're trying to generate backlinks from external websites to our own website, we want to make sure that they're pointing to interior pages, not necessarily the home page. And why do I say that? Because one of the benefits to link building and off-page SEO is ranking. So the whole idea about ranking is to get some of our other pages ranked, not necessarily the home page. The home page is just a doorway into your website. If we have interesting content out there on the web, and it's a food blogger as an example, and they're talking about a particular food item, well, they're going to want to link to a page that's related to what they're blogging about, that particular food item. They don't want to link to the homepage. The homepage is just a doorway. And so that's the whole idea behind link building. We want to link to multiple pages on the site. Why is that? Because if I take this particular page, valleyfig.com/recipes, and I just put that into Moz, and I look at the Link Explorer report for this particular page, the domain authority is still going to be the same, 35. That's what valleyfig.com is, 35. However, there's also another metric called page authority. So page authority is likewise with the domain authority, it's a score between 1 and 100. And so the more external links pointing to an internal page with high domain authority, that's likely going to increase the page authority of that page. So in other words, if we have good links from other websites pointing to that page, then it's going to increase the page authority for that page and ultimately the domain authority for that page. And so just like the domain authority, in this case Valleyfig, every page under that domain has a page authority score. So the higher the score, the likelihood that that page is going to rank in the search engine results. Okay, so that's the whole idea behind link building, is we want to improve the authority of the pages, not just the domain. But also more importantly, we also want to keep the end user in mind. So if it's from a blog or social media, the link pointing from that blog or social media platform should naturally point to something related to what you're talking about, not just the home page, because again, the home page more or less is the gateway into the website. So we want to get people to where they want to go. We want to naturally create a link from good content to some other good content. So that's the whole idea behind backlinking. So outbound links will direct a user from our own website to another website. So the idea here is it's okay to have outbound links on your own website. It's the natural ecosystem of the World Wide Web. Okay. What I would recommend here is not to have so many in a centrally located place. For example, don't have one page with nothing but external links on it. Sprinkle these external links, these outbound links throughout your website. But also, if it's not a reciprocal link, meaning if a guest blogger is not linking to your website, but you're just linking to theirs and they didn't ask you to, then maybe consider a no-follow tag. Maybe. Ideally, you want to make sure that these links are just natural in nature. So don't just have a habit of putting outbound links, because the whole idea behind outbound links is you want to keep people on your website. But if it's a natural link going from one content to another and you think the end user is going to benefit, then no problem. But just don't get in the habit of putting external links on your website, because that means that, hey, that user that's on your website may click on that link and leave your website and not come back. So keep that in mind as well, because you don't necessarily benefit from an SEO perspective by having outbound links on your own website. You want to do it as a courtesy if somebody else is linking to you. You want to do it for the end user if you feel they'll benefit from additional content on another website. But from an SEO perspective, it doesn't necessarily directly enhance your own website in terms of ranking. Turn our attention to duplicate content. So A lot of us have websites with a lot of content. Sometimes we go ahead and take our website and revise it, create a new one, or register a new domain and put content on that new domain. And so we may find ourselves in a situation at one point or the other where we have two websites with the same content. Or it could be the same website with a lot of content, but some of that may be duplicate as well. So we want to try and stay away from duplicate content, but for some of us, we may stumble across it accidentally. We may find ourselves having content that's duplicated. And so we want to try and prevent that because that's a no-no in the world of SEO. So if we have duplicate content appearing in more than one URL, there are ways to rectify not having the search engines recognize the content twice. So some examples of duplicate content are, for example, a spammer takes an article and posts the same content on his website. Or like I mentioned before, you create another website or register another domain and have that particular content on the old website still. Or you're writing a blog post and you tag it or categorize it, and the content shows up under the tags, under the categories, and just shows up in general. So there are a lot of scenarios where you can find yourselves with duplicate content. And so we want to rectify that. We don't want duplicate content. We want the search engines to recognize the original source of the content. And so basically, if you have two versions of a web page, you may result in duplicate content issues. Another example of that would be, for example, if you have products, you may find that that same product may be under two different categories. So how do we rectify that? Well, there are a number of different ways. And so the simple way is what they call a 301 redirect to the original URL. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have a new website with the same content, you could simply set up a redirect, and we call it a 301 redirect because 301 refers to permanent. So it's signifying to the search engines that you're permanently moving from this page to this page. The other way is through a canonical attribute. And so the word canonical may not register with some of you, so let's just take a minute to talk about what a canonical is. Basically, a canonical tag. It's a page level meta tag. So remember that meta tag description we talked about in on-page SEO? Well, think about this as another type of meta tag. And it's placed in the HTML header of your web page. So basically all it does is by placing this meta tag, it tells the search engines which URL is the original version to be displayed in index. So it's the purpose of a canonical is to keep the duplicate content out of the search engine index. So we want to consolidate our page rank, our page authority, our domain authority, all to original content. That's the whole idea of having a canonical. And it's a quick solution. So all you need to do is add a canonical tag to the header. So let me show you an example. If you have a site, let's just use CNN as an example. CNN.com has a lot of content. And sometimes, given the breadth of content that they have, they may run into duplicate content. So they simply just put a canonical tag into their header. And so by doing that, they're able to tell the search engines, hey, this page, this domain is the original. If you find yourself with multiple sites, well, you can also use Google Search Console. So remember, we used Google Search Console in earlier examples when we talked about links to your site, or we talked about that sitemap on page SEO. Well, if we go into Search Console, we could basically say, look, Google, because Search Console is a Google tool, we want to confirm that this is our domain. So this is the domain you should be focusing on. So you can leverage Search Console to communicate with Google regarding which site is important, which is the one that should get indexed. You can use a canonical, you can put that on any page of your website, or you can set up a 301 redirect. So those are the ways to fix duplicate content issues. 301s are the easiest. Canonicals tend to be temporary because they're just the page level. And then Search Console is a good method because it communicates with Google directly. And it allows Google to crawl various web pages differently than if you didn't tell them. Okay, so if you didn't tell them, they're just going to grab anything they can. So by communicating via the Google Search Console tool, it allows you to tell Google, this is the domain I want to focus in on. So let's talk then now about how the Google algorithms work. So we'll shift gears here and we'll talk about how these algorithms work on Google. So Google uses advanced concepts to retrieve data. So what they do is they're spidering, they're collecting web pages, and they're taking all those web pages back to their server. And anytime somebody does a query, they're delivering those web pages within milliseconds. They're delivering results based on your query. So that's in general how it works. So it uses a combination of different algorithms to deliver the best results. They want the best results. And so some of the most popular algorithms below are Google Panda, Google Penguin, and Google RankBrain. So these are all things that Google has done to make sure that they're constantly tweaking their search engines to deliver the best results. So let's talk about some of these popular algorithms. And before we talk about these popular algorithms, let's just make one thing clear, that Google's always tweaking their algorithms on their search engine. And so if you want to get an idea how often they do it, well, they do it every day. They're constantly tweaking it, but what they do is they release major changes to their algorithm a few times a year. So if you want to get a sense of what those changes look like, well, you could go to Moz.com and you can go to Google-algorithm-change, and you could see here that, hey, Google changes its search algorithm around 500 to 600 times. While most of these are minor, Google again rolls out major changes like Panda, like Penguin, that affects search results in significant ways. So you can go here and you can go all the way back to 2000 and see some of the algorithm changes